Hello and welcome to the Inbetween podcast. I'm your usual host, Joe Scorn, and I'm joined here for the anniversary podcast. We have our usual co-host Tony, who is off screen because the Chinese government's after him, and we have Hearthstone Andy, who has appeared on a few, and returning guest.
Joined specially from heaven, as you all know, I've died several episodes ago, but I'm here again for some reason.
We've managed to rope him back on.
Speaking of unprofessionalism, do you want to close the window?
Yes.
Yes, I did think it would be quite nice to have...
Until that random noise.
It's been completely fine until the second we click the and someone's like, I think it's a good morning to dig up the road. Fine, I will do that. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. So, how many podcasts have you been on now, Andy? 2 or 3?
I think this is the third.
Okay,
I think it's...
but we call Andy Hearthstone Andy.
Because he buys every Hearthstone expansion.
Because whenever I get him on the podcast, all he talks about is Hearthstone.
Correct. Up until about 6 months ago.
That
was it. I've gone cold turkey.
That's more. No, you've gone more than cold turkey. You've completely quit.
Yeah.
Have you quit all collectible trading card games, or are you playing like Ramp or...
no.
It's still very Magic sometimes.
What's the other one? Magic, yeah.
I was
There's
just,
not like
just
a physical
invested
version
in
of
Hearthstone.
No, there's not. I don't think so. I think it purely exists in The Witcher. Which, complete tangent, I know that...
No, it's a standalone game as well.
Oh, yeah, but I mean in the Witcher universe, it's in media in the game in itself, but it's not a physical card game that you can...
Because they just released
Magic.
one on
it's
iOS.
Have you watched the Witcher series on Netflix?
Not yet.
I've seen the first 3 episodes.
Andy?
No.
I'm planning to watch it, but
okay. It's good. Just be aware, the timeline of it is a bit fucking weird. That's all I will say.
Yeah, but that's early Witcher stuff. It's meant to
pretty
be
much, yeah, it's pretty weird.
It's not meant to be... Yeah.
Have you seen Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
I watched
the Chilling Adventures.
I watched the first series of the Chilling Adventures, Sabrina, and I thought that was good. And then the second one came out, and I just was bored.
I didn't watch it, but I felt like... Because they go into a bunch of different characters that aren't the Witcher. They have like Yennefer,
Jaskier, which is Dandelion, I think, from the Witcher series.
But then the whole time it was like the Witcher's going around doing Witcher things. I thought it's cool. And then you just have random segments. It's like Yennefer the Teenage Witch, which is like learning magic at this academy. Yeah. I was like, okay, I kind of like it.
It is good actually as a series. Even Emma watched it with me and she actually quite enjoyed it. It was only the fact that it's not a completely linear story that's a bit weird and you don't necessarily...
And I think it's set before the first game.
Yeah. Yes, I think the first episode is the Butcher of Blaviken. Yeah. So the timelines are all a bit odd, but...
It's not quite right from what I've looked at. It's almost right, but not, they've moved stuff around just for like... making it
like that. Some people were complaining for a while, weren't they? That...
What are you doing?
Because you normally can't see us.
I keep looking this way to look at Daniel, and I remember the camera was way
Oh shit! Hello.
Here. No, they were having issues for a while, I think, because they said basically like, there at that point in time there were no black people in Poland. And it was like, so we're good, but we've hired a black actor / actress, and it was like. Oh, we can't do that because it's not period accurate.
I think she was one of the best characters.
Yeah,
and then I would point out it's not Poland.
Yeah, and it was like, it's not Poland. It's not time accurate, and there's a bunch of monsters.
There's magic.
Going around. It's like get over yourself.
We talked about the build up to The Witcher on the podcast, I believe, and I think. Based on the trailers, I think I said it was going to suck.
It
looked like it was really bad.
The trailers still are terrible.
But the way they showed it was they would just show a still image as Henry Cavill as
like
the
a slow motion.
And I looked and I was like, that's just Superman in a white wig. Like, it looks so stupid.
You know, it's funny. The creator, I think, of the Witcher series, and I may be misquoting this, but I'm pretty sure he's actually gone on record to say now, it says certain characters play, or certain actors play a character and you can't see them as anyone else. Like, people usually think of Heath Ledger as Joker now. He feels like that way with Geralt and Henry Cavill.
Do you know what's going on with the author of the Witcher books?
No, I ain't got a clue.
So, CG Projekt Red made the Witcher games and he hated it, and he actually sued CG Projekt Red for more royalties
because they bought CG Projekt Red bought all the rights from him because he didn't want royalties. Oh,
so basically they made it fun.
However,
like, how did I not do this?
So CG Projekt Red has all the rights apart from media, which I think the author
However,
has.
in Poland, you're not allowed to actually give away all royalties. You have to always give royalties to the original creator if they're alive, even if they've given it away. So technically, the author's correct, but the way he went about it was basically blackmailing him because it's like, oh, we'll make this public if you don't like give into these terms, and they immediately went, okay, we'll go public then.
So you've watched 3 episodes. Have you got to the point where Jaskier makes a song yet?
Yes, he does it in the second episode, I believe.
it is really, really annoying.
Toss a coin,
It's
oh
a- 'cause
valley of plenty.
It's a great song, but and it's like it's really catchy. But they released the official soundtrack for The Witcher, and that's not on it.
I think it is now, and I think they just officially did a rap cover of it as well.
Well, that's good news. Anyway, I've derailed this podcast already.
No.
It's the tangerine.
Okay. Well, we didn't explain what we're doing, what we're talking about.
Orangutangerines, as always.
So
It's the 4-year anniversary
of the podcast.
Almost to the date.
I don't know.
Close enough.
It's pretty close.
We have the original recording date of the first episode on the YouTube channel, and over the years we've had many guests such as Andy.
We have many guests.
We've had
some guests.
Vietnam Day, Andy,
one.
Wrestling Matt,
Yep.
and Dan. So that's 3 people. That's many.
It's less than a hand.
Yeah, true.
Some.
And counting.
I've tried.
Many.
I've tried to get other people to come.
I know.
I wanted Matt's brother to come on.
What does he do?
He develops Age of Sigmar, which is the Warhammer card game.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of it. Probably saying so.
Matt's shown it to us. It does look good.
I've played a round of Age of Sigmar and it was very confusing as someone who's never played anything Warhammer, but it was pretty fun.
It looked fun.
Fair enough.
But I don't know. The people we have the most interactions with on the podcast are developers.
Yeah. Like small developers, like obviously they search for their own stuff.
Because like literally I just put out a...
Is it like Googling yourself?
Yeah, because that's what small indie developers do. They have to just Google themselves basically. Then if they see our video, because they're not many people.
Well, if no one else has made a video on their game,
they'll
and
see
then ours comes up and it goes, someone's looking up gameplay.
What was that spot that was really popular but you couldn't find by just searching the
Blackwake.
game? Why was that? Did we ever figure that out? It's just...
We have a video on our channel that has 200 views and not a single comment, and we have no idea where all the people come from. Algorithm.
Maybe we paid for it.
Algorithm.
That one day that you...
It's not even a good video or like a good game. It's like a game from like 2016 or something that's like a... It's like pirate mod on like Counter-Strike or Gary's mod, where you go into a ship and you just start shooting cannonballs at each other.
Yeah, I feel like that a lot of the time is one of those things where something has like a very frenetic fan base. Like they're very specifically and nichely interested in that one thing, so they try and consume as much content about it as they can.
Could be, yeah.
But it's not very popular.
One thing,
one of your videos.
One thing I remember, one thing I did think was maybe at the time there was no other videos. We would have to go back and like all the videos we currently can see. Like was ours before all of theirs? So did they search the game and found ours?
It was in early access at the time.
You could do like plot all these points and see if you were trendsetter.
Yeah, so I mean, we need to.
This is why I make the podcast, so I can go back and say, haha, I was right about this. And then I can go, haha, I was wrong about this.
It is nice to like just get your thoughts documented and archived and stuff.
It's like predicting Hearthstone cards. You're never right. Never.
Oh yeah, me and Andy, we made like an hour review just looking at new cards from a Hearthstone set, and I said, this card's gonna suck. This card's gonna be great. And then I looked back at it now, and I was like, I was so wrong. All of these cards.
What's the only one you card? That sucks. And then somebody was like, this card is the meta for now.
Well, you thought the pirate was really weak. The one that's like got
1 mana 1/1.
No, the one that got itself from the deck.
Patches.
You thought it was terrible.
Yeah,
I thought it sucked.
I remember feeling like, oh, this sucks. Who would ever use this?
It's just
like,
a free card.
Every game had it.
Yeah.
It was such a good card because it thinned your deck.
Yeah.
And as long as you didn't have it in your opening hand, you had a free 1/1.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I didn't know pirate decks were going to be popular. The thing is, when you review a set of cards,
it's hard to know how it's going to combo with other things
until you've got like a talented talented deck builder who can like see all these cards and go, I'm going to make this deck and try it out.
It's like an emergent property. Like the cards themselves then combine with other card mechanics. You don't know how it's actually going to play out, which is why it's hard to balance games.
I'm trying to remember what I was talking about.
The only card you did get right.
The
only card you did get right was Corridor Creeper, and that was such a sleeper for ages. The 7 mana that reduced its cost every time one of your minions died. I think it's 7 mana 5/5, and everyone looked at it and was like, "No, it's rubbish." And Joe was like, "No, it could be good.
That card's really good."
And then you just play it for 0.
Because all your cards die.
It's a free card.
It's just a late game strong.
I said No Man's Sky wasn't going to be the game everyone thought it was going to be.
Yeah, well, I agreed with you on that.
I went back to the original podcast and I said Rocket League was going to be a good esport. 4 years
speaking of
later, it was pretty big.
I don't want to speak about No Man's Sky eventually on this pod or this episode of the podcast.
Okay,
but
before I say the podcast's really good because I say really interesting stuff and I'm always right. I also say stuff that I'm always wrong about. I believe I said winning Putt the Golf MMO was going to be a huge hit.
Yeah, but were you joking or did you actually think it was good fun?
No, I think I was joking.
Okay, good. I was never counting that one on the huge list of wins and
it's
losses.
the start of the year, so it's a good time to make bold statements.
Yeah,
Half-Life Alyx will be delayed.
Yeah.
You were trying.
Half-Life Alyx will suck.
You were trying to anti-jinx it. By saying it sucks.
If I say Half-Life Alyx is going to suck,
it would be better than. It'd be better than.
You see, I think they've only announced it because it's already ready.
Because it's already sucks.
It's quite a short window between an announcement and a release date.
But
they've been working on it for a while.
yeah. Basically, when they showed it off in the trailer, everyone inside Valve and like sources, people like Valve News Network and stuff, know it doesn't have smooth locomotion like Boneworks. And what the entire game is designed to be played through teleportation.
Yeah.
But Boneworks came out and it had smooth locomotion, and they went shit.
That's
Everyone really likes smooth
Yeah.
locomotion in Boneworks, so they're going now retroactively adding smooth locomotion because they've promised it, but people who've played the game know it's not in the game at the moment because they even pulled it from being shown at the Game Awards because it wasn't in the game, and there's been screenshots like leaked from inside the game from official Valve sources, anonymous Valve sources, and if you look at the screenshots compared to the trailer, like large parts of the game are still changing, and it's going to be coming out within the next 2 months.
Yeah, I reckon it's definitely. Well,
so I think it's going to be delayed.
Speaking of delays,
that makes
Cyberpunk's been delayed.
I saw that.
Cyberpunk got
September.
delayed.
September from April.
Yeah.
And there's still going to be crunch time, unfortunately.
But they basically said, I think in the letter they put out, they said it's done pretty much, but Night City is huge, and we just want it to be. I think they said crowning glory or something like that, crowning achievement. So they just want to fill it with more stuff. So
need more Keanu Reeves.
I don't mind if a developer delays a game for a good reason. I think it's all right.
That's fine, but apparently they're going to keep doing some crunch.
I think
if
they don't
do have a
delay a
problem
game,
with.
the best result is something like Halo 2, where it's an amazing game, and then you suddenly end with a weird ending.
So they didn't put more time into the ending.
Because they were expecting. I don't think they were expecting a trilogy, if I recall.
Well, did they make the first game? It was more successful than they thought.
Yeah.
They made the second one and went, even more successful.
Yeah. I mean, the Halo series has always been a bit weird.
It's always been more
sold
popular.
at some point, didn't it? What was the one where they bought out a thing and they're like, we're going to do Halo, we're going to be first studio that does this.
So
and they're like, and here's Spartan Locke, and he's the best character.
No one cares.
They genuinely said they didn't get that the Halo franchise had a main character of Master Chief. The guy who's on the front cover. The developer had gone on record to say we didn't get that people thought that Master Chief
is, he's a silent protagonist.
The main character.
Yeah.
I know, but
he's
just
not
changed
anymore.
silent protagonist. That's true.
He has voice lines throughout the whole lot, but it says it's probably about 10.
Doesn't say a lot.
No.
Because in one of I think
like playing
fans
him,
consider to be one of the best Halo games, Halo Reach. You don't even play as Master Chief.
No, as a
so you basically had your first three trilogy. You had ODST wedged in there at the end.
That's my favourite
which
one.
actually is amazing.
That single player is actually really good.
It's mostly like it's like a prequel, right?
ODST's in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
Reach is a
like
prequel.
you go into Africa and
So
Africa.
So partway through Halo 2, there's like
That's
a big
in
event. You are one
like
of the
the hub of the
Marines
world,
in that
I think.
event.
Yeah.
in Halo.
And you talk to like an AI of the city or something throughout the game. That I forget the name of, but apparently is quite enigmatic.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called now.
Because we speak
like the
about
city AI.
Halo because the Master Chief Collection just came out. I don't know if you know about that.
Did it actually come out? Finally?
So
Yes,
they're releasing it episodically.
really?
Yes, in what's it called? Linear order. I can't remember what the proper name is.
Chronological.
That's it. Yeah.
In
So
world chronological order.
You've got the prequel Halo Reach at the minute, which is the non-Master Chief one, but it's the Master Chief Collection because he's technically in it as an Easter egg.
If you turn around in a cutscene, you can see him just about to be waking up.
But everyone hated that on release because everyone was like, "What is this? There's new stuff. There's no Master Chief."
There were some issues though.
But now people have gone back to it. Everyone's like, "Actually, you know what? This
to
is
be
a
fair,
great game."
Yeah.
To be fair to them, Halo 4 came out.
There's a
It's much better than Halo 4. And 5, yeah.
A lot of stuff gets like that, doesn't it? Like, it's a similar sort of thing. Like, people are really frenetic. They're very like, I'm a fan of this, and I want this, and this is not my Halo. Whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
And then they kind of miss the point to actually look at it objectively and go, actually, the gameplay, this is really smooth, and it is a good story. And it only happens
the story
after
was
the fact.
Didn't hit every beat though.
No, I've never really.
It's not as good, I would say.
No,
it's a great co-op game.
Yeah, and the story is necessary to like explain the rest of it.
You see, people that are into Halo, they know Reach is the tragic game. Everyone's going to die. So you go into that, you know that it's it's predictable.
It has the famous ending where you're supposed to die to end the mission.
Yeah.
And if you're speedrunning it, you just throw grenades at each other. We were speedrunning Halo Reach on easy, weren't we?
Yeah. Just ticking a box for like achievements. But good fun. I loved it. And
but Halo Reach came out in 2011?
Yeah.
And we were thinking about talking about games of the decade as
Look
well.
at that, he's put us back on track.
Tangerine.
What a segue.
And so I think one of your games of the decade might be Halo Reach.
Definitely. Yeah. I just had a lot of fun with it. They improved on Forge massively in Reach.
Forge isn't in the Master Chief Collection yet, which is a huge part of content.
I was going to say, because that's like
which one do you
make
but
your
the
own
thing
maps
is,
and everything. Right?
modding is in the game, and they've supported it quite well, actually. Not so well graphics options. There's literally one.
There's 3.
What?
There's original, enhanced, and performance.
Is this on PC or on Xbox?
PC.
It's one option with 3 sliders.
HD resolution.
Yeah, or one option with 3 options.
A single slider.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah.
That's your graphics options.
A single slider with only 3 things it can be between.
The
And it's
modding
locked to
support's
60
really
FPS
good.
as well, I think.
Okay.
And that's because
It's the physics-based one.
when they used to make games, a lot of games, the clock speed is tied to FPS.
Yeah.
So if I put it to 10020, I'm going to start running twice as fast.
It's really
a lot of
lazy
racing
from
games are like that, even in like the modern.
That's
era.
it's a
best
holdover from console games because you can't change
The best one I ever saw was a Need for Speed
Yeah,
game.
that's
running at
what I was talking
144 hertz. It was
Like
just
the
like,
car's like
It was because
Fallout 76
you
did
think
that
about
as
that.
well.
Oh, it's a bygone era. Fallout 76 had this. If you looked at the floor, you got more FPS, and you could
go
just
faster.
sprint across the map.
Can I say something that's really weird? This is a slight tangerine again.
Yeah.
But
from that initial tangerine.
you mentioned speedrunning just now, speedrunning Halo.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned a racing game. The algorithm suggested something to me I actually quite enjoyed watching the other day. Do you know there's an incredibly active community for speedrunning Trackmania Nation?
Yeah.
You remember Trackmania Nation? It's a huge thing, and I had no idea it existed. I remember playing that when I was at school, right, because it was free, basically, and it would run on Ed's ePC, which is a netbook, technologically aware, which was terrible, but it ran at like 3 frames per second. But
if it works, it works.
It did. And I was amazed at the amount of weird things that they had learned that they could do to get through these tracks quick. Like at certain points, they would literally just launch themselves.
They flip the car,
and it's
flip over and then land again. And it's quicker than driving across.
In some cases, it was quicker to actually flip the car over, but because the wheels are big enough, if you go like that, the wheels still make contact with the floor.
Yeah, I was watching a clip of like a esports Trackmania race that was going on, and there was people like they knew the perfect place on the track to flip across, and they go fly, and then they'd land perfectly, and it would be quicker.
Yeah, that's the one that I think got me the most. It was literally like, if you're really, really lucky, you can do this, and you literally just crashes straight into a wall, and it just goes flip, 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 flip into the end gate, and it's just like, oh right, okay. Speedrun is really interesting, actually.
Well, we literally just had, I think last week was AGDQ. Awesome Games Done Quick, which is one of the biggest speedrunning events.
One, isn't it?
Yeah. They raised $3 million for cancer. One of the cancer charities, I can't remember.
I thought you were just going to end it there. Raised it for cancer.
Raised it for cancer.
Go cancer.
This podcast supports cancer.
We're also big fans of World War II.
Yeah.
That's okay. That if we're gonna, this podcast is also talking about reminiscing about other podcasts, right? That's the thing we've always keep accidentally saying somehow.
What?
If you're fans of World War II, you're like Battlefield 5.
Oh yeah, I did say that.
Demonetized.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you're interested in
The thing is, we can say whatever because we can't get demonetized because we can't get monetized. You
can get flagged and stop.
See, this is a weird one because
Thumbnails.
YouTube. I stopped paying attention to what actually happens with YouTube a while ago, but it used to be you could basically just monetize any video you liked, and then it seems that they've now changed it now.
You have to have 100,000 subscribers before you can monetize a video.
See, that just seems bizarre to me. That's basically like saying.
But the amount of money you would make below 100,000 wouldn't be worth it.
It is bizarre though. It's like saying I'm going to make cupcakes for a living, but I'm only going to actually charge people once I've sold 100,000 cupcakes. You have to fund it yourself from that point. But it doesn't make sense.
The thing is,
it's for advertising.
It was worse for consumers 100%, but it was better for YouTube in like looking at it objectively because then you couldn't have people with like 10 subscribers upload a video of someone being beheaded and then it was monetized and people were like, what the hell's going on?
Two things were happening. People were just stealing other people's content and making bots to just repost it and they made tons of money from it. And there were people just misusing it and got it too early, basically.
And advertisers were pulling out.
But I will
because
say,
you don't want a Coca-Cola ad on a fucking ISIS video.
Then also, objectively, from the YouTube side, advertisers don't want adverts everywhere. They want it on just the good content or the popular content.
Yeah.
But also, I'll say what H3H3 said. Just H3. What am I saying? H3H3?
H3H3.
Okay, it's been so long since I've watched it, but he said at the time, it's like, okay, fine, you had that small boost of money that you were getting before. But if you were hell bent on like making YouTube, don't stop.
Yeah,
there's no point stopping. Just keep going. You're only making like £5 a week anyway. Just keep going.
Someone said similar about that. I think possibly H3H3 did an interview with Beast or something, and he said something similar. He wanted basically just get subscribers because he liked making videos. He never got into it to do it.
So I'm quoting this. He went on the official podcast and said this at the time of this all changing, at the beginning of.
I think it must have been mid-2019.
Was it?
I don't know. Anyway, so we're talking about games which came out in the 2010s that we liked and other various.
2010s to 2020.
I want to clarify something.
Go on.
2010 starts in 2010. The numbers start at 0, not 1. So I want to point out 2010 to 2019. Our year.
So but you're saying you're not including 2000.
No, 2020 is
we're not including 2020 because we're in 2020.
It starts at 0. People were like, oh no, it's not the next decade yet. Yes, it is. Numbers start at 0. Which is why you had the first century starting at 099. Or 0099 if you want.
So I have split a whole big list into various categories now as well. So we had some which were common across most or some of us.
We had some.
And I've also got, right, let's see if you can guess some of them. Based on the category mobile. What mobile game do you think?
Raid Shadow Legends. We're sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
Idle Champions. No, I was actually thinking Pokemon Go. I think that's.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that game.
Fairly big. Came out.
I never played Pokemon Go.
Maybe for you then.
Best sort of DLC that came out in the 2010s.
Bioshock Infinite Burial at Sea Part 2.
Correct.
That was actually better than Bioshock Infinite.
Was it really?
Yep. You never played the Bioshock Infinite
I played
DLC?
Bioshock Infinite, I haven't played the DLCs.
The DLC goes back to Rapture.
Oh, does it? Oh, no, I do know about this.
And the first one, you play as Booker again, because it's the parallel universe sort of stuff, and it's like a standard Infinite inside Rapture.
Yeah.
And then the second one transcends, because you play as Elizabeth, and it's more of a stealth game, and it actually like transcends the Bioshock format, where you can't face enemies face on, you have to sneak up behind them and take them out. It just completely changes the game, and I think Bioshock Infinite Burial at Sea Part 2 might be like one of my favourite DLCs.
Okay, the one I actually had on my list was Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Yeah,
that was like a standalone game.
Exactly,
wasn't it?
And it started that kind of trope of like, we've got some DLC, and what is this DLC? And
no one look. I'm just gonna leave. Carry on talking. Don't stop. Don't stop. Wait,
I've taken the camera off. Go.
So
Angle B.
Oh god, Angle B.
I can edit. Angle B's getting edited out.
Yeah. It's fine. You'll just go black.
Cut content. Just goes to static.
This is someone's killed Tony.
You have to knock when you come back.
But someone basically started this thing. They're like, right, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. It's like it's a DLC, and it's like, okay, but you don't need to own Far Cry 3. To my knowledge, I can't remember another game that did that before then, whereby it was basically they were just releasing another game, but somehow tied it into the first
Because
one.
Ubisoft found that formula and then went fucking mental with it.
Actually,
they were like,
I can. Halo 3 ODST.
True, I guess so.
It's
They made,
the same
yeah.
engine, but yeah.
because they made like Trials Blood Dragon
Yeah,
as well.
So I can ask, have you played Blood Dragon and did you enjoy it?
I've
seen
played
it.
a tiny bit of Far Cry 3.
Right,
See,
okay.
I've played 3,
Okay.
but not Blood Dragon. But I've seen someone.
So
play
Far Cry
Blood
3
Dragon,
is incredibly serious, right? It's a standard.
Not as serious as Far Cry 2, which I did
No.
play and hate, because
The
in
whole
Far Cry 2,
AIDS thing, isn't it? Or is it malaria?
so
Malaria.
what happens in Far Cry 2 is you spend 90% of the time either getting eaten by lions, because it's in Africa, or you have malaria. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, not malaria again.
But it came out and it was fairly serious. I think Far Cry 3 was the one with Zaz. But I can't
it's
actually
the
remember.
what's the definition of insanity?
That's the
Doing
one,
the same thing over and over again.
Not the
expecting
pagan
different
one, which
results.
I actually did quite enjoy. But
No.
so that came out and it's like, yeah, look at all this stuff. And then Blood Dragon comes out and it's like we basically condensed the 80s down to a juice and injected it into Far Cry. And it is the stupidest game, but I loved it so much. That game got me into like synthwave music. It was really good.
The thing with Far Cry 3, I think people love that game, but I think that was the turning point for Ubisoft games to always be. Come in.
Enter.
I think that was the turning point for Ubisoft games to always be open world tower simulators, and people got really tired of it after that.
Yeah, it's
Run
like,
to
I think
point
it was.
on the map. Open up your map.
Yeah,
And then complete all the little objectives. Yeah.
Back.
it was basically that though. Like when I played Far Cry 4, I really enjoyed it. But the reason why I talked to a lot of people and they said they quite liked it because you could basically skip the entire game if you wanted to. You could, like when Pagan Min is escaping, you can find a rocket launcher and you can blow him up in game ends. Or alternatively,
And
you can sit there and wait
for 15
Does that make the
minutes.
game
Yeah,
better?
yeah, and he will actually come in and say, "Yeah, all right, let's go in my helicopter then." No, I'm your dad or whatever. The storyline. I can't remember.
The storyline's the same as 3.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
But this was the thing for me. I had never played Far Cry 3. I'd
Right.
never played a Far Cry game before, so I thought it was really good. And it was then when Far Cry 5 came out, and I saw all the trailers, where I was like, "Well, that's identical." And
Yeah.
then I got what people were talking about
Yeah.
when Far Cry 4 came out.
Yeah.
But if we were talking like games of the decade, I'd probably have like a list of about 10 games. But I think the only game that I can think of that is at the top of everyone's list and you have to talk about is Minecraft.
Minecraft, yeah, it has to be. Not just because
Wait, it was literally at the top of your list at one point. The one I was saying.
my list wasn't actually ordered. It was just I wrote things down.
Well, the list I saw that was your list. At the top of the
Yeah.
list was Minecraft.
Technically, it was at the top of the list, but that's probably because
The first one you thought about. Oh yeah, Minecraft.
well, I checked and I was like, I originally thought Minecraft came out in 2009, and I think that was
that's when it
Marcus,
started development.
when Notch started doing
Not even alpha.
just the stuff on the forums, but it probably released, I think, in
2011. Yeah. 2011, if you don't know, go back and look. It has some of the best video games of the past decade.
Yeah, you could buy it in early 2010 though.
Yeah.
So also its 10-year anniversary came out technically last year, but that's like development 10 years.
So that was after it stopped being in beta or beta. Have you said?
Beta came out a week after Skyrim.
Right.
Oh, that's something I
Exactly.
wanted to say.
They
Far
would
Cry
try-
3, it's like Skyrim with guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That was
they
the IGN
not
claim.
tried to release Minecraft at the same time as Skyrim.
I think Far Cry 3, when did that come out?
Far Cry 3.
Yeah.
I'll Google.
Okay. But I think Far Cry 3 was actually more of the downfall of IGN, where people were like,
Oh
everyone's-
yeah.
and then they were like,
Oh.
oh, it's like Skyrim with guns, and people were like, wait a minute. What are these IGN people talking about? Maybe we should look into this. Maybe this is just sensationalism journalism.
29th of November 2012,
Okay.
according to Far Cry fan.
Well, I think the complete story arc of IGN was then that Pokemon got less points.
It had too much water.
Too much water. Too much water.
They wouldn't give. They would give games 10s that
So basically,
paid them.
yeah. So basically,
No.
the person who reviewed it did not give the score because they had to give public face to the company
I
who
see.
made the games. They had to then add in reasons, get re-edited in why they had give less score.
Yeah.
It was then complete bollocks.
I've always found stuff like that stupid. Like how
Yep.
driving
Well, I don't get
instructors-
scores anyway, but
Driving instructors have to fail a certain percentage of
yeah.
people that they test for their own internal metrics. Like that whole rule is stupid. If someone passed the test, you're testing them.
It
There's
was
no
like
one way or the
police
other.
officers used to have to arrest a certain amount of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because there's a reason for that. It's called the Gaussian distribution. Some people get so hell-bent on it, like including like racial discrimination or looking like racial discrimination, they kind of forget what it's meant to be there for. It's kind of
the toilet.
Right, well,
Quick, turn the camera off. Oh wait,
You can leave the camera on.
that means I need to stand up as well. Well, we were talking about Minecraft before we tangerine this.
Well, I
feel like we can't talk about it now because Joe's leaving.
I'm the Minecraft main.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I was either Joe or me played Minecraft first, but I spread it to Andy and everyone else I know.
I think you'll find out.
And showed them the Yogscast.
Yeah. I was Minecraft before all of you.
When was that?
I'm older.
Okay, when was that? When did you buy it? When did you buy it?
I think that we were at university at the time, so it probably was more like 2011. 11?
Yeah, I bought it in alpha.
See,
I bought it for £5, then I have to buy it again for Michael when it was full price.
I think I bought someone. I bought my wife a copy of Minecraft. So this is the reason why I think Minecraft is at the top of so many people's lists, because
I've come back.
So accessible.
I've gone back to it last year.
Me too. If you are
properly, anyway,
really, really interested in doing like hardcore survival or like those skyblock things where they start with specific resources and they try and complete the game.
There's the third one
you've
forgotten. Is then build really complicated machines and automate everything. That's what I've been
like
doing.
Mumbo Jumbo and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely fascinating. Or alternatively, if you want to sit with your wife and build a really kick-ass looking tree house and have a competition, you can do that.
You can technically do both.
And
though.
she,
just such
who
a good
doesn't play
sandbox.
games, really enjoys it. And that, I think, is the real mark of a good game. If you can put it in the hands of someone who does not play video games,
I would also like to point out,
like it's
also the start of a trend that happened in 2010. Regular updates to games.
Oh, yeah.
Minecraft was the forerunner to that. You don't pay for anything else other than Minecraft, other than like the new version. You can pay for skins and things, but whatever. That's not real Minecraft as far as I'm concerned.
I would argue that one of the people who did that originally was actually Valve with TF2.
True.
However,
it's
a very different game.
It's a very different game, and Minecraft, I think people copied Minecraft.
Yes,
we don't have to release, and we can keep releasing new stuff, not resell it,
and not just
more and more
Minecraft
people.
2
Well, basically, the advertising is basically everyone talking about the new update.
But the thing
They
is,
go, I need to get Minecraft now.
I go back to Minecraft after 5 years or whatever.
And it's different.
And it is Minecraft 2 to me. There's llamas.
Yeah.
There's the ocean update. There's dungeons.
Yeah.
None of that was in the game when I was playing before. And it was
a
a
whole
great
new
game back then.
mechanics. Yeah.
And now there's so much more in there.
Stuff that would be in
Dual
full
worlding.
expansions.
I'm going to put my business glasses on for this one.
Yep.
You know, that's very common across actual applications which are sold in the real world as well. It's actually cheaper to release something with the same point release number than it is to do the work to actually make something a new release.
Yeah.
So, for example, say you have a piece of software.
Say
Say you have a piece of software which is version 7.5. It is cheaper to make a piece of software that is 7.6, even if it's basically a complete rebuild of the thing, than it is to release version 8. The reason for that often is because you have to do a lot more testing legally for like translations and stuff like that to make it more globalised.
If it looks like it's the same thing slowly evolving, you don't have to get as much testing.
It's bizarre.
Sorry,
what are you talking about?
Do you think that's why...
Minecraft updating all the time.
Okay.
Tony said
Slight
that originally.
segue. Do you think that's why there's no new Windows? It's Windows 10.
Well, they did that on purpose. That
was
both Apple and Windows skipped 9.
Yeah, they basically said that Windows 10 came out, and they basically said this is the last release of Windows. The reason why is they said they're turning Windows into a service, and that is why you get these yearly or bi-yearly feature packs that have like paint.
Well, you had the service packs previously, but now
they were more security things rather than actual features.
They're now making way more money off OneDrive and Office now than they ever used to. Because now it's a proper service they're supporting.
There's a reason why you see so many people stopping selling actual desktop class applications and instead they sell cloud-based ones. It's because the money is in the subscription model that people can stomach monthly.
Oh yeah. Well, you think of like how much money people sunk into that.
Hey, wow.
Yeah, wow. Whereas something like not RuneScape because that's free to play, but
you can pay for
what was it? Dragon Quest. I was allowed Dragon Quest because it was £20 done. Whereas WoW, you're paying I don't know how much a month.
£10 a month.
£10 a month.
Like, it could be worse. It could be Habbo Hotel.
Oh,
how much is that?
Well, it depends if you have access to a telephone and you're able to make calls and not really understand how the charging model for that works.
I'm banned from having a
Yeah, I knew we were talking about you.
Been,
I just wanted to.
I used basically. Okay, it's gonna sound strange. There's like videos on YouTube you can watch, but there was actually
It's ages ago,
a
right?
furniture hierarchy in Habbo Hotel. Like,
Oh, really?
Like if TF2 has a hat economy, Habbo Hotel had a furniture economy.
That makes sense.
Talk amongst yourself. I'm just going to see if Habbo Hotel is still a thing.
It's not, as of about 2 years ago.
I think it instead of having moderator, it uses AI to ban people, but I think it still operates. But basically, it was before microtransactions were a thing. So basically,
It's up.
Still a thing. January in Habbo.
you could buy a membership, which would give you a member sofa.
Oh, okay.
And
That's what you want to flaunt.
Yeah. So I would make that, and I go, I got a member sofa, and I'd use this my phone, my old brick Nokia, which was linked to my dad's bank account, and I would just keep starting new memberships to get more sofas, because I was like, I can use these sofas, and I can like sell them or trade them and use them to flaunt wealth. And then it was like, my dad found out, and he's like, you spent 80 quid on this game. It's like, what the hell are you doing on it?
I think people didn't understand what billing on behalf of was. No. This is why the App Store, like on iPhones and stuff, was so decent, because it was like, I don't have to have a credit card. You just get basically my mobile provider who's already got my credit card.
Well, it's just like, A in tight, like, they've got pretty colours, it's free. Yeah. Oh, I'll get it. Yeah. Oh, there's microtransactions. That's not very much money. It's only 99p.
Plus, if I say hand over a £5 note, whereas tick this box.
Yeah.
There's nowhere near the same feeling of losing money.
I reckon contactless is making people lose, may not lose, but spend only a little bit more money than they used to.
Oh, definitely.
Because you go, that's just that much money. Don't calculate
about the
I still do.
You think about the regulations we have on microtransactions now, as to what compared to what we have then, and it's still not enough.
Weirdly,
absolutely.
Still tying us back to Minecraft, because of course Minecraft Earth is now loaded to the brim with microtransactions. When you go out there and you're like, I can tap on these things and I get resources. What?
You've used it?
No, I watched, because I was watching Mumbo Jumbo, because I was also playing Minecraft. I can make a flying machine. This would be fun. And then it was like, I got access to Minecraft Earth.
Then you try and make a flying machine combine harvester as well.
I have no idea. It was something out of like slime blocks and honey blocks. I think he was obsessed with those.
Moved a house. This you can actually make like really compact.
A self-building house.
What were you saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, Minecraft Earth has
microtransactions.
Yeah, you basically can go around a bit. It's basically Pokemon Go in Minecraft form, right?
Yeah.
You go around, you find
it looks more fun to me.
You tap it, and you get a bunch of resources, and you can build stuff. There's pre-existing built things.
I know Seth
can use AR if you've got a phone that supports that to show it in the real world, and you can either go inside of it like real scale, or alternatively you can have it as a small, almost Lego-like model. Though I imagine they will never refer it to it as that, because get them at all. There is Minecraft Lego now, isn't there, actually?
There is, yeah.
So I bet you they've got a special...
they still probably can't use the name without paying them every time.
Yeah,
so
but...
You'd have to license the name out, which is a pain in the ass.
Obviously, not everybody wants to just walk out and go and collect things. They want to just say, I want some redstone. So they just buy a pack that they open, and then eventually they get redstone. And that... to me, is the more Microsoft really own this now, not Moab.
There's microtransactions in the Bedrock version of Minecraft.
Is there?
Yes.
Oh, well, the Bedrock version is the one which is available on Windows 10, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the C++.
It's the one that works. The Java one is the proper one, if that makes sense. The Bedrock one is based on C++ and runs Windows 10 and Xbox and I believe PS4.
I think the Bedrock one was
on that now.
There's crossplay between all the Bedrock versions.
Yes.
Bedrock is... every single version of Minecraft that isn't the Java one is Bedrock.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Bedrock is Xbox,
Pocket
PS4, mobile, Switch, all can crossplay.
You have to pay for skins, and you can pay for maps, and you can pay for like weird data pack things as well, which are they're almost mods. They're almost mods.
Yeah, I think
they're more command blocks. You have to run them like command blocks initially, and it's kind of like a mod for a map more than like a mod that's like in the background that you never see, like with actual Java mods.
So, but at that point, that is the point when I realised like Minecraft's almost been this pure thing for a while, as far as I.
But that's not why Microsoft bought it.
I'd only played the Java edition.
Yes.
You can mod it however you like. You could do Bucketcraft or whatever. You could build machines if you really wanted to.
You think about,
and then Microsoft are like, but we want to make.
Can you think about Minecraft in like 2010, 11, and you think, oh, it's that guy that Notch guy made, that game the Notch guy made by himself in Sweden, and now it's
huge.
Huge.
And we knew it was going to be huge when we went to the last LAN we ever went to. The one that we gone to the year before, everyone was above the age of like 17. They were all playing and all these sorts. The next year, they said they would have a Minecraft, and it was full of kids. It was just kids
and adults
everywhere. Well, and adults to a degree, yeah. Like, and they had, they have the celebrities that come along. They come and do things. Stuff. I don't know why I put celebrities in there, but sorry, YouTubers. I do believe you are. My picture's been
influencer, not celebrities.
Yes,
they're beyond.
Picture on YouTube has been a picture of me with Jacksepticeye for years. Jack Gaspisi.
Jack Spadici.
You mean Spadici? Yeah, and but then as soon as they had all these people, like I think it's Mini Lad and stuff like that coming doing Minecraft related content like that, it was like, oh, this is changing.
Next generation.
It's changing the face of gaming, and then of course you get stuff like Roblox. And my wife is a teacher, and she comes home and she asks me about games that people have been playing, and it shows you just how young people start playing games.
That's another one where
it's not bad to play
Roblox
games.
is really pushing Robux, which is their microtransaction as well.
There's like Minecraft, Roblox, even Fortnite, which
is the most popular game in the world.
Yeah. The end of the 2010s to the point where it's now cool to play games in school. Whereas
before you were the outcast if you wanted to play video
Not so
games.
much, like, it was kind of like mixed where
it was more niche still.
It was it was still more on the niche side. It was still better to go outside.
There's an age gap at the table.
But it's also in schools, I don't know if it's in the UK, I don't know much about schools, but it's like YouTuber merch is super huge. Like you have kids who are Jake Paulers or
that's big here as well. I'm not sure if it's in schools or not, but there's
I think you were talking about who played Minecraft. I remember playing the alpha.
Yeah, I played the alpha. I played the alpha where you had to play it on the browser basically.
Yeah.
Place blocks and water.
Because I have there's a video on YouTube.
Yeah.
Of me making a Pokemon stadium in the alpha of Minecraft. Years like 2011 or something.
Was the alpha the one that had the far lands? Like if you actually went too far, then the game.
I think both the alpha and the beta.
No, the alpha didn't have infinite land at that time. It was the normal version of the game.
I'd read
the far lands, but at some point they patched it out.
Yeah. You'd read the blog and be like, "Oh, I'm adding a cow this week, or I'm adding a pig this week."
Oh no, yeah. He was trying to add a pig and he actually made the creeper. He actually made it stand like the way he coded it. His legs became small, and then he made it elongated this way instead of it being. So he was trying to make a pig like this, right? Yeah. The head. Instead, he accidentally made it like the whole body just got turned like that. The legs were still small, and at the bottom, the head was at the top. Creeper.
I think that's one of the nicest things about Minecraft is it's not really scary either. Although it's
why you say that?
Yeah.
That skeleton and spider made me jump every time.
The first time I played on my own, I was in the lounge. I was going through a little cave. I got shot in the back by a skeleton, and my laptop was so close to going flying across the room. I was like, oh,
but it's not on purpose. Yeah, it's not. It does jump scares and stuff like that. It doesn't cash in on those sorts of things.
They have a sound option called ambient sounds, and what it does is it just makes random noises when you're near a cave.
Yeah,
and that freaks people out a lot.
In fact, I tell you, it does have one jump scare in there. I think if you go to a Guardian temple now, the Elder Guardians will kind of.
The Elder Guardian will put an effect on you. It shows in your face, and then it shows
a
your
weird
trap.
noise. What's the effect that you get when?
I can't remember.
You're like, mining fatigue. You can't
mine the building it's in until you kill it.
Anyway, Minecraft.
It wasn't until 2019 that I actually killed the Ender Dragon for the first time ever.
Yeah.
We did that. Crazy. I mean, even at university, we had a friend who, again, it shows you why Minecraft's so popular. He was in the RAF.
Yeah.
He played games like the only game he had on Steam was Civ 5, and that was it.
Good game.
It is a good game. Yeah. I think it came.
We had issue with you on your list. You had Civ 6 instead of Civ 5.
Well, I think I had. Did I not put both down?
No.
Oh well, obviously Civ 5.
When did Civ 5 come out?
I'm gonna Google it. I think I got this laptop here.
It's got that sort of real worldness. That I don't know.
I wanted to say, Minecraft had such a impact on gaming, impact in life. It's one of the best-selling games of all time, and you couldn't think of a game that is as good as Minecraft and the impact it had.
And it's not only that; it's the fact that so many people like it, and it doesn't matter who you ask.
Well, everyone knows it now.
Objectively, it is a good game, and it started the whole resource collection,
Survival.
survival sort of thing. You know, it just nothing particularly
free
existed
updates
before
as well.
that. Yeah.
The only game that I struggled with so that's probably my number one for game of the decade. But the one I struggled with was another game that came out in the same year, which was Portal 2.
Skyrim.
Portal 2 is a difficult one because it's so much. If you think, look
I
at
really
it,
like
it
Portal.
is.
It's
I
different
love
from
Portal
Portal
2,
1.
but it's so much different from Portal 1. Portal 1 was basically based off of a game called Narbacula Drop, I think, which was a
Kim
student
Swift.
project
Yeah.
that
Portal 1 is so
originally
tiny.
Valve saw and just thought that's really cool.
Because I'll talk about an underrated game that I'm always telling people to play, and no one's ever played it.
Do you want
Not
Quantum Conundrum?
Quantum Conundrum.
Which
You
is
can-
voiced by John Delancey, the guy
From
I have
Star
it,
Trek.
Yeah, I
Q.
nearly put it on the list because I quite like that.
Have
game
you
as well.
finished it?
Nope.
I
Got to a
have,
point where I couldn't finish it.
Oh,
I
I
just didn't
finished the
understand
game.
how to do it.
and it's really good. Like it's obviously it's not nowhere near as good as Portal, but you can see like the same ideas. Like Kim Swift, the original creator of Narbacula Drop and Portal. After Portal, she moved on, and then they made Portal 2 within Valve. But you can still see that great puzzle design in that.
I think the mark of a good puzzle game to start with is games that can't. You get to a point where the speedrunners can't do them any quicker. They just hit a brick
Have
wall.
you seen a speedrun of Portal?
Yeah.
They're just glitching through
No,
walls
just
and
just
flying
not
through
doing
the
the
level.
puzzle.
jumping backwards everywhere, and then
Yeah.
suddenly you're
I
at
think one of the
exit.
I tried to look at a trailer for Quantum Conundrum, and the trailers were terrible
Oh,
for that
yeah.
game. They didn't show anything.
It looked
The
kind of
story
like a Unity
wasn't
asset
great.
flip.
You kind of went to your uncle's house, and he was a mad
And
scientist,
he wasn't there initially.
and you were
in
trying to
time.
get back
Yeah.
to him, but you
Yeah.
couldn't really. But the thing people remember about Portal 1 over Portal 2 is the story.
Yeah, I will say this: a good puzzle game, or not, a well-selling puzzle game, then has a good story.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't think
If you have a good story and good mechanics, then you've got a game that you're gonna sell.
it says something that these days most games that come out right are multiplayer. They're the ones that people assume make
Oh,
the most
yeah.
money. But on
Single
my
player still
list,
makes a
I
difference,
have
doesn't it?
more single player games than I
Yep.
have
I think
multiplayer.
you
That's
remember
surprising.
single player games.
Yeah,
more.
because they have a story. You connect with someone.
Yeah.
Like I find Portal and Portal 2 so interesting because there are no humans.
the thing I
I didn't
But okay,
interact with a human at all.
here's this interesting difference. Multiplayer game, say you're the Doom guy. If it was multiplayer, you wouldn't care. Single player, immediately, like you have more connection to the
Yeah, yeah.
character you are
Yeah.
compared to a multiplayer game.
just like Duke Nukem Forever, where
Yeah.
the multiplayer was tons of Duke Nukem.
Yeah, makes sense.
So like,
One of my games of the last decade, Duke Nukem Forever. I actually don't know
I
when
don't think it came
out.
out. I
you
think
see,
it was a
I
bit
go
more
on
Without
recent.
a
Steam
name.
nowadays.
No, it's 2010.
I open up Steam and I sort by multiplayer. That's literally the only games that I bother to
Yeah,
play
it's like
nowadays.
we look at Steam
No,
sales
I-
now,
I-
and it goes. If it,
2011.
Because
Game of
I
the
did
decade,
enjoy
yeah.
like Deus
Okay.
Ex and that. I
Really?
played it once. I can't be bothered to play
So
it
the
again.
thing-
I
Yeah,
know,
okay,
I
yeah.
know
What-
what happens.
What,
I
Human
wanna-
Revolution or the original?
No,
Human Revolution.
See, that is on my list.
Yeah, I really
Of
like
games
it.
is-
Yeah,
I-
I
it's
agree.
great.
I played
God
Human
damn,
I'm
Revolution.
never going to
Love
go
it.
play that again.
Yeah,
See,
no.
I will because there are different ways to
Okay.
play. There's either I'm going to stealth everything and I'm going to be non-lethal,
I
or I
played-
will go guns blazing.
I
and kill
played
everything.
Human Resolution, and I didn't like it.
Okay, but here's the thing, Andy. You could easily go outside and play with your friends, but you can only like watch a film like a couple of times compared to going outside playing.
I'm gonna go on
Why
to
that's
a
multiplayer
little bit of a
compared to single
tangent, but
players.
back to
Yeah.
what we were talking about. Portal 2,
Yes.
workshop support for co-op maps
Yeah,
and
kept
single
that game
player.
alive.
That kept going over and over again. And you say you didn't play the game again. The game I have played more times than anything is Half-Life 2. I've
Yeah.
played Half-Life 2.
Ratchet and Clank.
I've played Synergy, which is Half-Life 2
So
co-op.
Half-Life 2 again.
I've played Black Mesa
I
Source.
tried to play Half-Life 2 again recently,
Yeah.
but it will not run on my Mac anymore. And I know I did have a PC, but at the time it was Christmas and there wasn't a lot of work to do, so I wanted something on the side to do, and I wasn't about to go and work up here because we had the dog. But because Catalina is out, which no longer supports 32-bit apps, Half-Life 2 won't run on a Mac anymore. That was quite sad for me, that I could no longer just quickly, regardless of where I was, fire up the Freeman.
Wrote up an emulator or a VM of an older.
I hadn't thought that actually. I probably could.
Because it has
shove it in a
VM
VM.
support.
But there's
Yeah.
there's like Half-Life Update where people have made it run on different ways and fix bugs and stuff.
I like the fact that they had like the I can't remember what it's called, like the mods.
Oh, please don't say
No.
that mod.
There were two. There was one which actually updated like the way games were reloaded and stuff like that, and didn't affect gameplay particularly.
Half-Life update.
And then there was the absolutely abysmal
Cinematic
one that
mod.
was basically just put Alex in a bikini at all times.
Yeah.
That's cinematic mod.
The cinematic mod is if Half-Life 2 was directed by Michael Bay.
Agree.
It was lens flares, and like it came to a point where they had like an Alex model with a fully modelled cervix.
Yeah, oh god.
Stuff like that. It was just like, oh, okay.
But Half-Life came out in 2007.
4.
Previous, I think it's like previous.
Half-Life 2 came out in 2004.
Yeah, like previous generation stuff.
Yeah.
So 2010s can't make the list. But Portal 2, yes, I think that was on a fair few lists just because it was so good as a second story, and most of the time you expect sequels will be bad, and it wasn't. I think
it was better.
A lot of that was carried by Stephen Merchant's performance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also infinite replayability as long as the community keeps.
What do you say about
stories.
People say Portal 1 has the better pacing compared to Portal 2.
I disagree.
I thought the story was so perfect that it just carried on and kept going. Then it stopped and it was perfect.
I honestly thought when I got to the end of Portal 2, the first half, when Wheatley
knocked out.
go through, that was about the same length as the first game was.
Yeah,
if you actually played it.
I think that's on purpose.
And you were like, cool, I've had a nice bit of re-entry
then
to
it keeps going.
Aperture Science, and it's like, but actually, why would I let you go? And it's just like, oh fuck, and you're just like, this is happening. You're like, more, and then all the stuff with like previous versions of Aperture coming, and you're like, oh, lore dump, give me more lore. I love lore.
But it's not like, but some people are like, oh, it's like a jarring experience going from the old or the more modern to the old one. It's like, no, to me it was like a perfect synergy. Well, perfect from one to the other was perfect to me.
Can I say something
good story?
Really weird as well about one thing I really like about Portal that is kind of a real world element to it that I find really odd. Minecraft, right, saying everybody really enjoys it. There is so much merchandise in the real world for Minecraft, from hoodies to Lego sets and that. Have you ever seen basically anything particularly Portal related?
Yes. Bookends.
Oh,
they are amazing.
Like, that go one portal than the other. But
that's the only thing.
It's really hard to merchandise an orange jumpsuit.
No.
Valve's,
I want the gun, the little turret.
So you could get one. Weta made one.
No. I want the turret.
The portal turret. You could get one as well.
You can get the inflatable ones.
I want an Alexa
small ones.
portal.
Someone built one.
Turret.
What was it against? Valve's factory where they make the steam controllers is called Aperture Labs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember, I think he's a YouTuber who has fallen quite a bit from grace now. There was a guy called...
Tabuscus.
No, he has fallen from grace, but he used to be... Do you remember the YouTuber Charlie Is So Cool, like?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he had a friend called...
Naramon?
Yeah, him. I think there was some big scandal.
Allegations about...
Basically, in the year that it was popular for basically allegations to be made against YouTubers... Because I think the same happened actually weirdly enough to Tabuscus as well.
Yeah, he was acquitted. I'm
pretty sure he was told for tax reasons it would be better if you were a business. So, and it didn't matter what you called it. So he set his organisation up and he called it Aperture Science. So it does show you that it does affect certain people. You know, people remember it. If Valve basically came out and said Half-Life Alyx is coming out and they said, oh, and by the way, we're throwing in a free copy of Portal 3, I think people would lose their mind. Because Portal 3 is, if it ever happens...
Well, that's an interesting topic
Alex.
to say. Which Valve game would you like a sequel to? Because everyone has a different answer.
I want Portal 3.
I want Team Fortress 3.
I want Portal
3. But I feel like it would never exist.
I originally would have said Team Fortress 3, but I feel like I actually got that in a way through
Overwatch 3.
I just didn't... I don't think I could go back. I have a lot of memories because obviously I had like thousands of hours in Team Fortress 2. But that's done now, and I think that until someone comes out with another class-based shooter, I'm not really bothered that much about it anymore because it's hard to innovate on that. Portal 3, I am vaguely interested in, but for me, Half-Life 3 with the continuation of that story about the Borealis and seeing how they actually tie that into the Portal universe, because it's really hard because they're completely different genres essentially. One is dark comedy, but mostly comedy.
Yeah, but the story doesn't.
And the other one is just gritty post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, but it's
they both have dark
you have similar with the gravity gun and the portal gun. similar kind of technology sort of thing.
Exactly, that's the thing. That's why they exist in the same universe. But how would they actually make them cross?
So
Because
does
Borealis, the point was, it's from Aperture Science. You can't get more science.
We're talking about a game that came out in 2004 right now.
I know. Well, Portal 2 didn't, which is why we tied back to it. But
I don't think they can. Well, Portal, they have to go backwards. I don't think they can go forwards with the timeline anymore.
no.
They can't. So, well, they can't technically.
You
Can,
can
but
okay.
there's the ending
thing
of
about
the shells.
the thing about
storyline, really.
the thing about Portal 2 is or Portal, it's like way after whatever happened in Half-Life, right?
Like you know,
So you want to know? I want to know what this apocalyptic world looks like.
it's like
And I want to portal around, not in After Science. I know that sounds weird.
So an
I
open
want-
world Portal.
So there's no actual puzzle. There's no puzzle levels. It's just like a puzzle.
really,
not open
you don't
world,
have
but
a
it's like
lot of
more.
clever puzzle
It looks.
design.
It looks
in
open.
such a way that
So you're just
you
trying.
feel like you're solving puzzles.
Yeah, so you're
even though
trying
it's
to-
the real.
So-
Yeah, you're trying to get from A to B outside, but it is still a puzzle.
If you
thing
wanna
to go
like-
through.
Superland. You're describing Superland right now.
Yeah, but when it.
But that doesn't have a pole gun in it.
Yeah, also when it does a longer and
I
more
do
linear
feel like
as well.
that's really hard though to go anywhere from Portal 3 because I've played a mod which was the next hours of Portal.
Yeah, and it's just
2,
a
and it's
pretend.
like,
It just
yeah,
falls down.
everything
Yeah,
falls
I've seen
down.
that.
and then suddenly
It's a
you're,
good
you're
mod.
still actually in Aperture Science.
But the problem with that is like story wise, it's a great puzzle mod, but it's still like you're still After Science.
Well, speaking
What's
of
the point?
VR, speaking of Portal mods, there's a VR Portal mod which is Portal Stories Mel,
Yep.
and you couldn't talk
Nearly
about the
put that on
last
my list.
decade without talking about VR.
Well, moving on to the part of the list that's labelled
I'll write this one
VR,
down.
I have got on my list 4 games.
Okay. Is 9/11 Simulator on there?
It isn't. I haven't heard of that.
It should be.
It's a real game.
Really?
Yeah.
It was called like a number on the clock because it was basically what happened. It was a demo for the original Oculus Dev Kit 2,
Right.
and it just had you in the offices of 9/11 as it was happening.
That sounds horrifying.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. It's so bizarre. And you.
But that was the kind of stuff people would put tech demos up of on
Right.
Rock. Because
So it's like I remember the
spoilers
plank,
for the next
example.
30 seconds. You pick up a chair, you work your way through it a little bit, and then you realise you're trapped. Grab a chair, smash your window, and then it has you jump out the window in VR, which is terrifying.
And makes you sick.
yes.
Mm.
And then obviously that's the end of it. But
let's speak about VR
Yeah.
and being sick.
Well, so the 4 games are on my list, right? And you can guess what order I'll put these in. I'll tell
Beat
you
Saber, number
Right.
one.
So actually, right, I'll put them in order, right?
Okay.
For me, the lab.
Okay, yeah.
The
Awesome.
lab is
The-
what
The
sold me on VR.
lab might be one of my favourite Valve games.
Yeah.
And it's a
just in general,
game
because
not
it's
many
not a
people
game.
have played.
And it's just not a game
it's
particularly.
just
Really,
It's polished.
You going to the toilet
Yeah.
again?
No,
It's great.
but I'm getting a drink.
it has.
Right,
Honestly, it's got
Right, you better head
probably
out.
lights out.
about 2 games in it. It's got the
Yeah.
longbow one, and it's got the slingshot one, which
Yeah,
has got
that's
Justin
it.
Roiland in it, voice acting.
Mm.
Other than that, they're just experiences, but it's still so replayable. As someone who adopted VR very early,
Yeah.
to be able to show someone the lab and then immediately then say how much is one of these, that's the sign of a really polished bit of kit. Because they like the longbow one specifically, it's so analogous to someone who has already used a bow and arrow before. They just know how it
Candy.
works,
Yeah.
and they're
Regional
just like,
champion.
this works.
And it just
I
does.
get it.
and
It feels right.
It
I
does.
want this because I want to be able to do more things
Which
with
is
it.
why
So
I got
that's
the bit
why
down.
the lab for me
Yeah.
is the top of the list because it just gets people so excited about VR, and it is a fantastic bit of. And
But I feel like
it had bonus Portal content.
The
so I mean,
lab
of
is
course,
Wii
yeah.
Sports, but Beat Saber is the killer app.
and then the next one is Beat Saber on the list. Like
Yeah.
because it's basically bring back my plastic instruments from Rock Band 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But
Makes
even
sense.
better because I'm getting fit at the same time. I love that game. The only
Don't
problem
get
with it,
Audio shield.
yes, which is not
It's
as good.
scuffed.
They're like, I've got to move the things that
There's
match
a,
the beats
Like
from towards it.
gameplay wise, it's fine, but any of the additional
hold
songs or anything like
Two
that,
fingers
it's,
for a tangerine. You can
it's too
decide.
difficult to work.
All right.
Tangerine. The Mega 64 just made a video called "We Still Rock Band," and it's like, yeah, we still play Rock Band. And they start playing, and then the controller disconnects. Like, oh shit! And it's like, yeah, that's kind of what it's like to play Rock Band now.
Well, just halfway
It's
through,
like-
and suddenly, controller number 1 has run out of power, and you're just like, fuck.
And then they skip to another guy, and he's like, I don't Rock Band anymore. and then the next thing he's like, I still rock band, and then he's playing on the drums and stuff.
I sold all my plastic games. There are still moments when I regret that, and I'm like, actually, I do still want to occasionally whip out a plastic. I don't know how to play, but I don't. But yes, Audio Shield is terrible because they basically tried to be Audio Surf, which was a good game, which may have even come. No, that would be way.
I think my favourite VR game has to be I Expect You to Die.
Oh yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's the weird Bond one where
you're basically the tech demo that I played was on the Oculus, and it's a seated experience on the Oculus. But I believe it's a room scale one now. But basically, the idea is that you're in your Nemesis's car in an aeroplane, and you have to try and figure out how to get out of his car. And it's like if you press this button, it's going to like set off this laser scan that's going to scan you and shoot you. Or if you can't open the window because the airplane's full of gas.
A seated escape room,
yeah,
which is really cool for VR. But yes, Audio Shield, I agree. They tried to be audio surf because they saw what was happening with Beat Saber, which is basically Beat Saber was brilliant and massively killer app adopted because they allowed you to make mod tools and put in whatever songs you liked and didn't care about piracy.
Oh, hang on.
Now that it's actually you may enter. Now that it's actually trying to make some money and they're partnering with people like Monster Cat and stuff like that, they'll become more like Rock Band again, where it'll be much harder because they're going to start having to lock that stuff down if they want to continue to make money off of it. Because otherwise, it is just a game that they could stop updating and the community would keep it going.
Metallica earned more money from Rock Band than they ever did previously.
But you look at a game like Gary's Mod, and that's what we're talking about. Gary Newman made this game and he let the community go wild with it, and it's still getting updated to this day. But he said, like, I've made more money off Rust than I ever have Gary's Mod because I put like microtransaction stuff in it, and I kept. He's just released like a DLC for it and stuff, and but with Gary's Mod, he let the community have it, but that's really bad business-wise because you don't make as much money on it.
And so that's why Beat Saber is very good, but it is going to have problems forward because they have said they're going to have to start addressing the rampant piracy and it does. And I'm pretty sure you ask any person that owns VR that owns Beat Saber, and they will tell you it's an okay game until you mod it. And I guarantee most people that have Beat Saber have modded it because it isn't fun to play, particularly if you have to play the same game again. And they're upbeat enough to be able to keep it interesting.
But what if you own the songs though?
But this is the thing where I was comparing it to Audio Surf or Audio Shield. They decided they saw the writing on the wall for Beat Saber, and they said, well, they're going to get in trouble because they don't own it. So we're just going to feed that in and have it dynamically generate the maps, which is what Audio Surf managed to do.
The thing is, they did that with Rock Band and they released DLC for songs, and everyone's like, okay, I'll pay for that. But we've come to a point in music industry where you can stream anything for free, and people don't want to pay for music.
This is the point of
they do get more money.
Hopefully,
from the streaming platform.
Beat Saber will cotton on, and they will start to have deals with people like Spotify, like that, whereby you can connect to a Spotify account. It will still have those generated maps because the community will make them.
They add a
maybe they get paid a bit on the side.
If they had a system to sync it,
you say like Beat Saber's getting in trouble because they're not making any money. Spotify is losing money. They're not making any money either.
I'm more talking about like a method for streaming whereby Beat Saber can continue to operate in a way that is.
But a lot of people that are allowing people to stream are working at a loss. YouTube's never made money. Spotify's never made money. I'm sure Apple Music is probably at a loss, but Apple can take the hit.
Netflix probably do, but they don't do music.
Amazon Music probably. I don't know. Amazon can definitely take the hit.
It's just they keep trying to advertise platform, isn't it?
Amazon Music to me.
Well, I'll tell you, fuck me, I am so fucking tired of opening up the bloody YouTube app on my phone and it telling me to do the goddamn YouTube Music trial. I have said
not YouTube Premium.
Oh, it's 50-50 whether I open it up and it's that one or it is. But it drives me nuts. If I've said skip trial, it means stop bugging me about the trial. I don't care.
Just do the trial.
I had YouTube Music because I had Google Play Music, and for a while you got that for free. So I never got those adverts. Then we cancelled it and we swapped to Spotify. My God, is it? Anyway, turned Arena away again.
Other VR games.
The other two on my list were, and I think in third place is Super Hot.
Super Hot VR is really good.
Because it was really good, and it was another one that was different. It was like there's enough originality here that
The VR version forced you to move in different ways than you would on PC.
And it was...
You can do more.
It's exactly. You can either strafe left or right on a PC, but when
you can move your actual head,
lean back.
Yeah.
You can duck.
You do the Neo dodge.
You do whatever. Yeah. If you do stuff, and that was one of the best parts about Superhot was it was sort of self-aware in a way of its own referential humour.
Yeah.
That if at one point there was literally people surrounding me, you get a pair of Uzis and you go like this and you duck down as you do it.
But I found
the achievement that pops up says he's beginning to believe, and it's like that is so satisfying.
the thing I found is like it's like playing that statue game where at one point I'd be like on one leg this, and it's like I would never do that on the PC
like
version.
a Connect or something.
What?
The statue game.
Statue game. What is that?
Like when you were a kid.
When you're playing
Oh, you mean stuck? Not Stuck in the Mud.
Musical statues.
Yeah, musical statues.
That's not what it's called.
Sorry, I was thinking of there was a Connect. I think it may have been either a release game or a tech demo whereby
Milo
to sell
Project Milo.
No,
Where's that? Where is it, Peter?
Fucking, it was like a wall that would come towards you in a specific shape, and you had to move.
Bring
your
on the
body.
wall.
Bring on the wall. Human Tetris from Japan.
Sure.
Rest in peace, Dale Winton.
Oh my God. But yeah, it
He's
would
dead.
come at you like that, and you had to put your body in specific shapes. I thought that's what we were talking
Second Tangerine.
about.
Okay.
Go on.
The game Linky has a card for Dale Winton. And the four answers are Fake Tan, Supermarket, as in Supermarket Sweep.
Yeah.
What are the other two? I can't remember what the other two are, but yeah, Fake
Gone
Tan.
to Red or something like to do with the lottery.
Probably, yeah. But no, it's just Fake Tan and Supermarket. And Katie's straight in there. Yeah. Dale Winton. What?
The thing is, though, Fake Tan can sometimes be of a bit misnomer because you might also be talking David Dickendon.
Right.
Oh.
Alright, Tangerine over. So.
And then the last one on the list that I have is Budget Cuts.
Budget Cuts is good.
Because it was a great game until the last bit when I couldn't play it anymore because it turned into a horror game and I was too scared. Literally, that's what happened. It gets to this point and there will be spoilers.
Pitch black.
There will be spoilers for Budget Cuts in the next 30 seconds.
Raise your hand.
If you don't like this, just watch the screen. I'll put my hand up like this. And when it goes down, the spoilers will have finished.
Don't cover your ears.
You essentially make your way through this office period, like this office block, right?
Yeah.
And it is surrounded by robots who you're slowly killing, and you're armed with weapons and stuff. You're like, right, this is great. Then you get to the person who's been running the show, who is an omnipotent AI called Adam, who has put himself into a super buff robot body and going around, and he is psychotic. And he is like, come and get you, little chap. He's just a floating eye, basically, on a frame. And if he spots you, he just starts chasing after you. That gave me Amnesia Dark Descent.
In VR.
Yeah. It's horrifying. And
I
could not finish the game.
One thing I think
You
game
should have paid attention to you should put your fingers in you.
Okay. One thing I think about Budget Cuts.
Are there going to be spoilers? Do I need to remind you again? Okay.
One thing I think about Budget Cuts is I think the game needs better pacing.
Wait. People are talking and there's no bars moving up and down.
Oh no! What happened to the microphone?
Uh-oh.
Are we still recording?
I think just scroll down. That's all.
No,
mute that one.
Mute that one?
Yeah.
Is it?
No.
Oh,
Where is that bar's moving?
Yeah, I know it is.
But yeah.
Muted it.
I just muted.
Yes, you just muted it. It's
Did
fine.
he?
So
Don't worry.
it just wasn't scrolled down.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank God.
The second bar is this camera.
We'll keep going.
Hang on, I'll point. Big finger. This guy here.
Alright.
Okay, everything is possibly
Everything
fine.
is awesome.
So, oddly enough, having bought the VR after trying the lab, I've
Was it after you tried it here?
not here at the old house. So
Oh, I meant it.
Yeah, trying yours.
Yeah.
I have completely different games on my VR list.
Which are
So
Hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades.
good shooter game. I
Which
like
is
it, but I
Meat
haven't.
Fortress,
yeah,
which is part of the update.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then you got Boneworks, which is just essentially
Cerberus Arms does a great video about
Do
that.
you
Yeah.
have you played it with smooth locomotion or do you use teleportation?
Well, I say Boneworks. I can't wait to play Boneworks because my
okay.
VR's away at the minute. Duck Season, the game previously made by the same developers.
Yeah.
Also a horror game in a way.
It is,
Fuck,
yeah.
It is a horror game.
It's straight up a horror
If
game.
you know that, it's fine.
No,
you know what to
it's
expect.
still-
It's
I
amazing.
don't
It's
like
amazing.
slapping things that will scare me to my face. That's not
The most
good.
terrifying game I ever played in VR was Waltz of the Wizard.
Oh, you said you really didn't like that.
Did you play that?
No, I never did because you said you really didn't like it.
It was
Horror.
terrifying in a way that you could only be terrified by it if you were in VR.
Did you mention Blade and Sorcery?
No, because I have never heard of that.
Really?
It hadn't come out until recently, Blade and Sorcery.
No,
Was it
he-
2020?
No. It's been
Blade and Sorcery came out in like late 2018, early 2019.
yeah. That's been a
Or it's in like early access.
Yeah, it's been in early access for a while, but I've been watching people play it for a while.
And I'm going to include a 2-for-1 as my last game.
Okay.
Is Assetto Corsa or
Okay.
iRacing.
Racing's okay.
If you've got too
To
much
be
money,
fair-
iRacing.
Racing sims with an actual steering
Oh,
wheel,
yeah.
and that I'm not into racing sims because I am a crap driver, probably in real life,
Yep.
and definitely in sims,
Yeah.
right? But I love Formula One, right? So my friend comes over all the time. We watch most of the Formula One races. He loves racing sims. I have convinced him now to buy a gaming PC with the view of eventually borrowing that because he loves racing sims.
Oh.
He's been over. He absolutely loves using the VR and doing it.
And
It does give him a
Andy
poten-
has the Logitech
Yeah,
wheel. He has wheels,
G27
pedals.
Yeah.
and the VR. And sort of touring cars, that sort of thing. Amazing. F1 car,
Horrifying.
literally the next level up. Because you've got that open skybox.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
with the VR, it's just
So
amazing.
It's
Can you just drive
incredible.
Like this?
So
Oh, you
I
could,
couldn't-
you might crash a bit.
I couldn't play it for very long because despite owning VR, Assetto Corsa was just too fast paced for me. It's a similar sort of feeling
Right.
for me for
Yeah.
when I've actually been go-karting in real life. And the
Mhm.
last time I did that, it was an incredibly hot day. There was a burst water main, so there was no water to drink, and I ended up feeling incredibly sick. So
Why
as soon
did
as
you
I
do
then
that?
got into an F1 car
It
in
does take
VR,
getting used to.
and we sat in it, and it also wasn't aligned properly. So weirdly, something you don't consider, if you're sat and you've got a wheel in front of you, in a
have
game
to
like a
reset.
racing sim, your arms are a specific length on the
Yes.
screen. So if you don't match your arms to that in the game,
It takes
it
a lot of
fucks
setup.
with your mind. You feel really, really sick.
So there's a couple other weird things.
Hand lag.
The amount of steering,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to get the turning radius right, and changing gear, you move your hand.
It doesn't
It
until
doesn't.
it's done it, and then it suddenly just goes.
Yep.
Unless, if it's on a paddle, it's
Do
not.
you have like a gearbox?
Yeah, so I
Something
normally
like
use
that,
the paddles, but
What you
usually
need-
they
yeah.
have like a little one that's just up or down.
Yeah.
Or it's,
You need the knuckles and just have like a string
Yeah.
that's not connected to anything.
No,
Just-
well,
just-
yeah,
the way-
it's
No,
not
I'm saying that's what
flat.
you ideally have. They don't track your hand.
The way they do it in
Oh,
the
right,
knuckles
yeah,
is
tracking
you
the
have
hand,
floating
yeah.
hands, so your hands are always tracked and moving.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else that's going to confuse you
Yeah.
in your peripheral vision.
Yeah.
But
Like
I
someone
will,
else's
I will
hands.
agree that I understand that because I have played. I think it was. I can't remember which one it was, but it was like a Red Bull edition of something that was free to download, and they let you drive an
Right.
RBR 14.
Yeah.
And that, when I did it, obviously I had all of the driving aids on, and I just went off at the first corner and crashed, and I felt sick. Then
Yep.
my friend, who's quite good at doing that sort of stuff, got into it, and it was amazing. As he
Yeah.
said, because he said he felt like he was actually better. Like, as in he felt
You
like
can
he was
see
physically. Because
where
he,
you're going
he could
and
see
on the
across his
corner
wheel. He could see in his
There's more
periphery
information, and you've got
when someone
two.
was coming, so he could actually
Yeah.
drive more defensively to stop someone.
We actually
from
has
taking him.
he actually has depth.
So I understand that.
What
Yeah.
makes you sick in VR games is so random because
What's-
I played Portal Stories Mel, the VR Portal, and I played
Yeah,
through the
felt
whole game,
fine. One
and-
sitting.
and I didn't feel motion
Same.
sick.
So,
But
so-
there's a little demo at the end where you go on an elevator and you go down into like the salt
Oh, yeah,
mines,
that
and
made
that
me
made
feel
me
sick.
really
Yeah,
sick.
yeah.
Why
I've,
did it-
I've
that
got
made you
two
sick?
stages
That's
of
a bit I played of that.
VR sickness. Level 1, you play a drifting racing game.
Okay.
That's awful.
Yeah.
The next
Wait,
level,
wait. Is one worse than two
So,
or better than two?
one is
I'm
you
going
get
to
your-
throw
you
up
get
your
probably.
brother
It
to
goes
do it.
up and up
Yeah.
to be
Yeah,
worse.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
So
So level 2 is
level
worse.
1 you get your brother to do it, and
Yeah.
it's quite funny. Level 2 is don't ever
It's the
try
worst
it.
enemy sort of thing.
Subnautica with
Oh,
a controller.
God.
I played
I
some
did
Nautica
that.
in VR.
So I've
The
done that.
worst.
Not only that, not only is it the worst, it's also a combination of terrible because you feel sick and there's water everywhere.
Yeah.
You suddenly feel like I did not know I had this fear of mass open water. And also, oh, I'm in a sea moth, this is quite nice. Fuck, that's a Reaper Leviathan and it's much bigger when he's in your face. Because Subnautica, brilliant game. It's on one of my lists for single player because I thought the game was fantastic.
Amazing. Right? One of the best early access survival games.
And updated again really well, and it just had right level of storytelling
You look at early access and you go Subnautica, Kerbal Space Program, probably. Those are some of the games.
They got special stamps say this is how you're supposed to do early access. But anyway, well, you don't realise when you have a screen in front of you for Subnautica, everything seems right. When it's in VR, the scale for Subnautica is completely wrong.
But did you ever
everything
turn with the controller in Subnautica with the VR on?
I used a mouse and keyboard and played with an Oculus Dev Kit 2, which has some of the lowest refresh rate you can get in VR technology. Right?
Just to say how bad Subnautica was. Again, using a mouse and keyboard, right?
Yeah.
I literally loaded it up, put it on my head, and felt sick without basically moving at all, right?
Right, okay.
Talking about it now and remembering it is making me feel a bit sick.
I'm
not kidding.
Are you sure you're just
a little bit
you
queasy.
don't have your sea legs?
No, I hope not. We're going on a cruise.
You can't get sea legs.
See, I couldn't even play
That's
it.
amazing.
You just have it.
I was done. I couldn't even play it.
There were two things that have ever made me feel that bad in VR, right? One thing that was quite bad, but wasn't that bad and quite funny, was when VR was first a thing and we played with the DK1 at Atlanta. Was running around, because it was one of the only games that supported it, was running around in Team Fortress 2 as a scout with a DK1 strapped to your face. So the screen door effect is horrible and you're running at about 60 to 70 miles an hour. Feel a little bit sick after a while, but it's alright. Second thing, Subnautica, really bad. The only other thing that has made me feel immediately sick was there was a tech demo which was just called skydiving. And it is literally you on the side of a plane, and then as soon as you move your head, you should start free fall. I literally move, and then you see the ground come towards you, and I was immediately like, I had to take it off my head, and I felt myself dry heaving. I was like, I'm going to throw up if I do this. I had to sit down. I couldn't play VR for a day after.
Fair enough.
It was mad.
One of the most popular VR games now is like a climbing game. And I'm like, how the hell do you
climb it? Yeah. It's just because you got that whole movement, and because you're controlling the movement.
Going up.
It feels right. It's like Boneworks with its movement.
It's exactly.
Have you ever felt motion sick outside of VR? Playing a game?
Playing a game, yes.
Really?
But so weirdly, I have felt motion sick.
Me, you, and Dad are all get seasick.
Yeah. I don't think I get as bad as you and Dad, but I do get a little bit.
Yeah, I used to get
Which
seasick.
is kind of tied to motion sickness as well.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the body not liking the differences in inputs, basically.
Minecraft will make me sick if I don't turn off view bobbing. When you're running and it goes like that, if I look
at Quake FOV on,
it makes me feel sick.
I have the noisier effect in Minecraft because that makes a lot of people feel sick.
Okay.
I have no idea.
So that's the thing that makes me motion sick is being simulated on a boat.
Made it less.
That is weird, but makes sense, I suppose.
Sea of Thieves, when I first played that, I felt really motion sick. Shout out to Raft. Raft is a really great early access survival game, similar to Subnautica the Forest or something like that, where you're on a raft. It has a motion sickness mode where you can turn the waves off, and that helped me a lot. So,
well, you say Sea of Thieves was something you got sick on, but you couldn't turn it off because it was
part of the game.
It was actually a part of the mechanic.
Yeah. I think the only other thing that is not playing a game makes me feel sick. If I watch, going back to Cerberus Arms, I would watch his playthrough of Boneworks because I couldn't be bothered to buy it for myself. Essentially, I was like, it's interesting, but it's not interesting enough to me that I'll pick it up. Watching that on a flat screen, not in VR, I could only watch because each episode I think that he recorded was like 45 minutes long. I could only watch about 15 minutes of it. Then the sensation of him moving around and my eyes obviously not moving, just looking at a flat screen, made me feel very sick.
Really?
It's a weird effect, but
I think
I don't get that.
No, speaking of VR being like one of the biggest things that I also get, I think motion sickness is cost, motion sickness.
Yeah.
And what's it called? Adaptability.
Well, and how do you use it? You need the space for it as well.
Yeah.
This will only have been recording for half an hour, and I'll need to start it again. The reason being, there is a law means that if a device records for longer than half an hour, it is actually classified as a camcorder, which has different tax laws associated to it, and that is the reason why all modern smartphones will stop recording after half an hour.
Did not know that.
Weird fact of the day.
Not a smartphone. Actually, it's a camera.
Yeah.
Actually, we're technically bypassing with other software.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
One game I do need to talk about that none of you will have played,
Okay.
but it's personally
VR?
one of my no.
Moving away from VR.
Slay the Spire.
No,
Oh,
I've played
Slay the
that.
Spire would be
I've
my list.
played
Slay
that.
the Spire is fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But the one game where you'll be like, SteamWorld Dig 1 and 2 came out this year, and I bet none of you have played it or heard of it.
No, I've got SteamWorld Dig 1.
But it's actually my contender for game of the decade. Like it's
Yeah.
up there with Portal 2 and Minecraft just
Wow.
because of how good it is.
It's
It's such an underrated game, and
I'm going to Google it.
okay, the SteamWorld games, you have Dig, which is like a digging game, but they also make like SteamWorld Heist
Right.
and stuff like that. And the SteamWorld games just defy genre.
Okay.
They're insane.
They look pretty good, but I've never actually given it a try.
The idea of SteamWorld Dig is you are a robot in a metal world. It's kind of like a Wild West world, and
Yeah.
you have to dig into the ground
It's
and get resources.
Yeah, it's like a different planet and thing. Right? It's not...
But the atmosphere and the game itself is so good.
Yeah.
And I think the idea of like loneliness in video gaming,
Well,
you
you-
could just study
Well,
SteamWorld
you
Dig.
go down further and further, don't you? Get more and
Yeah.
more isolated as you go down. Then you have to eventually go back up.
Was it
It
not...
reminds me of Terraria
Yeah, but
initially.
but-
It's not. You don't
Initially
build
looking at
anything.
yeah,
Right.
it's
The main-
aesthetic.
I've actually
I would
seen
say it's
you
close
play
to a
it.
game like Spelunky. The
Okay.
idea is
Yeah,
you
it's
go
more-
into caves and you dig down.
I would say it's been between those two because it's
Terraria
like
is
the
very
world from
Terraria
world.
aesthetic with the very square
Yep.
manoeuvre.
You can probably go deeper than Terraria though. Terraria can go very deep.
It's funny you mentioned loneliness in video games. Was it not Kojima that basically said that
Death Stranding.
Death
Who's not
Stranding
Kojima?
was different Twitter account?
Oh, different.
Was he not say it's basically a walking simulator that really highlights the loneliness of
I think there's
a video game?
games need to explore that more. But I think SteamWorld Dig does that in a way that transcends it into art for me.
Yeah.
And SteamWorld Dig 2 essentially improved on everything of the first game.
I think-
and it went more. And it turns in a way that you would never
Yeah.
expect it to. And I don't want to give anything away. Because I think everyone should play SteamWorld Dig
So
1 and
for-
2. Because it's my game of the decade.
Okay.
And you've never heard of it.
For me, I agree. More games should do. I think a lot of games that try and do that.
We have a spotlight on the first one.
They're all super obtuse and really annoying because you need mechanics to show the loneliness. Otherwise, you're just playing a boring game alone. Which is what most games do. SteamWorld Dig does it though.
I think Kojima said actually kind of the opposite. He said it's a game that shows how lonely it can be in a game, but he said it's poetic in a way that there will be millions of people playing this game at the same time. Somehow they're...
There won't be millions of people.
The idea of SteamWorld Dig is you're like a little robot and you have a lamp in you, so the deeper you go, the less light you have. So
Yeah.
you have to keep coming up to the
So you have
surface.
a heat mechanic as well.
Yeah.
No electricity. Yeah.
And you're
It's just
basically
really
getting
cool.
gems to upgrade your robot.
Yeah.
Speaking of games which change very, very suddenly, we were discussing before we started the podcast about Doki Doki Literature,
Which I have not played.
a horror game which I have not played.
Okay,
I have investigated.
We'll not
after
say horror,
wondering what the
but
hype was about.
Psychologically
horror.
dark game.
Yeah,
Is it VR?
no,
You
It's
could
an-
play it VR, I guess.
I haven't played it because it's anime trash.
it does seem on the surface like anime trash, and then you kind of get to a point where it's no longer anime trash.
That one with moniker in.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
Just making sure.
just to say, there'll be spoilers for this as well. I'm going to put the hand.
I
up
haven't
again.
played it.
Well,
Don't spoil it.
Don't
for me.
spoil. No.
Fine, I won't spoil it.
I've already been
I
spoiled.
think the
so-
best way to advertise the game is talking about it without spoiling it.
Okay, I will say that obviously the fact that the game starts and it says this game is not for people who are easily disturbed or for children makes you sign a disclaimer that says that, but then completely changes in tone and is just like, oh, everything's a normal, completely happy place.
Oh, you know, you just think, oh, it's just that they have to cover their
They
ass.
have to do
They're just
that.
covering their ass.
They don't. There is a reason for that. Pay attention to those warnings because you will be affected by that game if it is the case. It is very weird. It is a very good game. It is one of the only games that I've ever seen that has a way of escaping the game itself. And I can't say much more than that.
Stanley
Okay,
Parable.
so other things that games I think about like that.
Accounting.
Accounting sound Pony Island,
Yep.
which is another great game.
Oh, the duck game technically you sort of do as well.
Super
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah.
But no,
Duck
not being self-aware,
Okay.
but actually
Yeah, it does do it differently. It does.
it is done it in a completely different
as if
way.
the characters believe it. Like you.
Tell you what, for the next Halloween episode, I'll play Doki Doki
Okay.
Literature Club.
It's quite long, but
Yeah,
I
you have to
think
play
it's-
for quite a while.
it's
I'll do an
worth
entire
it.
video on it.
Okay.
Alright, play Doki Doki Literature
I will
Club.
play it.
It's worth playing. it will affect you.
You have to get past. You have to get past the anime stuff.
Yeah,
Because there's so many people talking about it, and I'm just like, I don't know anything about it, and I don't want to be spoiled.
But I think if you don't like the anime, or I guess
maybe you two should
manga
play
art
together,
style.
and you can just riff off of each other about how weird it is as an anime.
and how much you don't like the art style.
Yeah. We'll do
Because
that.
I know it's like if you don't like the concept or like the look of something, you can't then look at the
Well,
nuance
I've
of
never been
everything else.
interested in anime visual novels sort of thing, which is
But that's
why
not-
I've never looked.
Yeah,
into
that's not
it.
what it is. It is that for
Because
time.
you're already going in with more information that a lot of people did when they because you know already that
The
it
people
is
who-
not a normal
The
game.
people who played it, people that liked anime visual
Yeah,
novels, and
they
they
did.
played it and went, "Oh my god, what did I just witness?"
Right, so can I just bring something up because it's vaguely related to horror that is not on my list, but I've just remembered came out in the past decade.
Yeah.
That had a similar sort of effect on the same sort of people that played Minecraft also played this game.
What was it?
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
I don't know.
loads of kids love Five Nights at Freddy's now.
I find it horrifying. That
Really?
Kids can just I really don't like it because it is
The thing is,
another
they don't play.
suspense thing.
They
I can't
usually
deal
don't
with.
play it
I
themselves,
find it
but they
so
watch
boring.
YouTubers playing it. It's
Yeah.
the
Okay.
Slenderman of our generation.
Can I say I've played?
Slender is the Slender.
I've actually-
Joe.
I've actually played the first game.
Have you?
It's boring as shit.
Oh right.
There's a VR version of it.
I
as well.
like horror.
Fuck that shit.
I like horror games though, but the mechanics are so boring and the jump scares are so obvious. Yeah, it makes you jump.
Hmm.
'Cause
That's not scary.
I've accidentally played some popular horror games that are meant for. I think like Hello Neighbors is a horror game for kids. We played Bendy and the Ink Machine.
I really like that.
Which is like
That's really
if
cool.
Walt Disney Studios was
That
like
is
Bioshock and ink was going everywhere and all these monsters were appearing.
Yeah, well, first you don't even want them.
That's actually really. I know
That's
that's really
scary.
popular with YouTubers and kids though.
You don't know if the creature looks like at first. You just know that there's something's gone wrong and ink is everywhere. And it's coming alive.
and
apparently.
there's like these cardboard cutouts of like this Bendy creature, which is like
It's just a
Whistling Willy Mickey Mouse.
It's just a cartoon.
And then you go around the
character.
corner, you turn around, and then he's moved places, and
Oh,
he's like behind
We
you.
should
and
have been
stuff.
talking about the biggest horror game of the decade.
Amnesia.
No.
What?
I mean, to be fair, that is a brilliant horror game.
Yeah.
It did come out in this decade.
Yeah. until the
Obviously, it's Sherlock Holmes and Watson.
What?
Have you not seen this?
No.
No.
Right, so...
I think I've seen it and I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
At some point, before Slender was a thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that some of the concept of Slender came from this. There was a game which was just lazily programmed where you play Sherlock Holmes.
Oh yeah.
You
okay,
walk
fair enough.
around and you go and solve crimes with your trusty pal
Watson. If you turn
Watson-
around, he teleports to get closer
Watson,
to you.
yes, is programmed to stay within a certain distance of you.
But only when you're not looking.
But only when you're not looking. So when you walk around, you turn around and Watson's just over there. Then you turn around and turn back, and suddenly he's right in front of you like that.
Or looking at something
terrifying.
else. Sometimes you're looking at something else as well. It's just like, what the hell is he doing?
I think Slender took that idea and ran with it, honestly.
Actually, I would say, Slender or that, I'd take that as a better, scarier horror game.
Yeah, probably.
It's actually-
accidental horror.
What's it actually called? There's quite a lot. Is it Sherlock?
Oh, I'll look it up.
There's quite a lot of
I
those.
take it as a first
cheap games.
person
I think it's
game or
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I remember. It's like it's basically first
It was a
person
very.
point and click.
It was
to be
kind of
honest.
like a cult following, really, of people who played like a lot of those games.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it was a big game.
No,
Sherlock
no.
Holmes, Crime and Punishment.
Really?
Crime and
What's that
Punishment is
one?
what it was called. Right, there you
I
go.
think over the years, I kind of started playing more horror games because I wouldn't before.
You wouldn't at all.
But a genre that I started playing that I think is
Well-
so underdeveloped is co-op horror games.
Yeah.
There needs
Or-
to be a big.
Oh, like
What's-
Fear.
What was the one
When
I?
did Fear come out?
Fear?
That's
Fear
it. That's
is-
fucking
Fear is
ages.
very tricky.
Fear
to do
came out
co-op
fucking
horror,
ages
though.
ago.
Fear is a
The
good
kind of
co-op
ones I'm
horror
talking
game.
about is the one that one of my
Nothing in
favorite
Fear 2.
games that I played in
Yeah,
2018
sorry.
was
Okay.
Dead by Daylight. Have you heard of
2009 though, still
Have
think
you heard of Dead by Daylight?
Yes, I have.
Isometric horror game. One person plays the killer, and then four other people have to go.
Oh, they're
and
the
fix
kids,
the
aren't they? It's
generator.
like
What?
really serious Scooby Doo, like there's a monster.
Oh.
No, there's not kids.
No,
what
you
am I
like
thinking of?
I don't know
The
what.
Blackout
you're
Club, I
thinking
think you're thinking of.
It might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Look up Dead by Daylight. 'cause
Ted
I know
Cruz. That's what you're thinking of.
We're thinking of different games.
What was the thing I saw about the one that was we played a spotlight of the demo, like that weird fleshy creature. The,
Carrion.
Carrion. What do we? It's like
A
reverse horror.
Reverse horror.
That's an underappreciated.
You play
game.
as the monster.
Yeah, I really love that.
What was that game on EA where you played as a teleporting alien and it was very comedic. It wasn't very.
Destroy All Humans?
No.
No, that's also a great game series though.
I can't remember what it's called. You're called like Blob or Blorp or something.
Rip Pandemic, by the way.
But you would teleport into people. You'd shake the analog controller and then you'd explode.
Oh, I do remember this.
Yeah, I remember this vaguely, but I don't know what it was. Is that EA?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
it
that
was.
actually? Oh, I didn't know
I'll
that.
look it up eventually. Also, because
Or
I tried to
Ubisoft,
search
I'm
for
not
it, I think
sure.
I can't find the game I was talking about, but that asymmetric thing must have been originally started by Evolve,
Okay.
which is the whole
No.
monster versus
No, there's a game.
class
There's
types.
a game before that.
Uh,
There's a multiplayer asymmetrical one where you can play as.
But
There's less monsters than the soldiers, but
But I know more about horror. I know. Yeah, Warp was the name of the game. I know more about horror
Natural
characters
selection.
now through playing Dead by Daylight because all of the DLC characters are like Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Ghostface, which I found funny because they call him Ghostface Killer, and I was like, what, from the Wu-Tang Clan?
it's difficult to do co-op horror though because you get either like.
Before you continue
Go
your
on.
point, I'm going to go and make some more drinks. Would anyone like anything else as your glass?
No, I'm
empty.
Yeah, could do a bit more.
Would you like another regular?
I think we're about to wrap up.
Lola.
Oh, sorry, yes, some regular Oka-Lola.
Yeah.
And I will get myself a drink as well.
Thank you.
Talk amongst yourselves.
What other
yeah,
co-op horror
so-
game did I play?
Right, you've got stuff like Dead Space 3, which, like,
Okay,
see,
oh,
that's
horror,
got
horror
horror
to
as well.
me
Okay.
is a linear story, but as soon as you introduce
Forest.
co-op into
That's
it,
the one I'm thinking of.
you just can't maintain that story because one of you is going to know what's happening.
Well, yeah, that's why you
And
you have gated things like you have like everyone once the one person gets the end door, you both get loaded into
I think
the next level.
I think like
Yeah.
the best co-op horror game I've
I-
ever played is The Forest.
Yeah, I agree that there's problems with co-op horror and you have to do it completely differently. But I don't think it is inherently like broken and can't be done.
Hmm.
And I think you just do it differently. I think it's just like it's
Yeah.
like a subgenre of the horror thing, like horror single player and horror co-op.
You see, the
And
best,
then horror,
the best horror
like
co-op
asymmetric.
I've played is things that like Gary's mod.
Yeah.
'Cause they're all brand new experiences for everyone going into it, so no one knows what to predict.
Andy, you're forgetting about the time that we played VR chat.
Oh yeah,
I was
yeah,
Woody
yeah,
from
yeah.
Toy Story.
That was
Yeah.
horror.
Yeah.
And you were in VR, but me
Was
and
I?
Dave were.
Was I watching someone stream for
I
that?
don't know.
Yeah.
Me and Dave were on the PC, and you were in VR for the horror
Mm.
map.
But the issue you've also got is you just go, Joe, you're the sacrifice. Off you go.
Oh,
And everyone
okay.
else just sits back.
Absolutely. You
Almost
do need
getting
to get
sacrificed.
These are all mechanics and things you have to think about. Is like
Yeah.
how do you game the system? Not in like playing a game, but
Mm.
isn't like gaming a system like as in, like even in real life. How are people going to try and get around it? Because
Yeah.
that is the game of a horror game.
I
To be
just
honest.
had a really good idea. You send someone in, and then whatever the monster is like, I'll protect you. And then it sort of attacks the other
What?
players.
Okay.
Would be a good way
What
to
if you sacrifice
the
someone to a
situation.
monster, but then the person who gets sacrificed turns into a zombie and they have to then attack their friends? Then you wouldn't want to send
Then I
someone
don't
in.
think that's a horror game.
Why not?
Because the person that gets turned they're not worried about getting turned because they've still got a role to play. There's no risk there. You just change what team you're on.
Okay, fine. Okay, you die and then AI takes control of you, but you still get to see it from their eyes. But you still have some mechanic. But you can still like call for help or something while inside of it. That would be horrific.
That's another great co-op horror game I would say as well. Resident Evil 5.
Yeah.
And Resident Evil 7 was a great standalone.
7 has co-op initially. They didn't add co-op at some point, or they were planning to.
I don't think they have co-op.
Okay.
yet. But even just going back and playing Resident Evil 5, like you have the lock camera. Sometimes the zombies come up behind you. There's jump scares. Like it can be a scary game, and it is a good game worth going back and playing.
It's an alright game. It's not as good as 4.
I've played this. One of the DLCs is really good.
Yeah.
That I played. You basically, it's a prequel to what happened in the
Is
story.
that the one with?
It's Wesker in a castle.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
there's two. There's one that focuses on action, which I haven't played yet. But this
The one
one
with Jill is
is
on your
very
top
short. You're Chris and Jill,
Yeah.
and it's very much like Resident Evil 1 or 2,
Yes.
where you go through a door and it even has the door opening
Mhm.
animations that they removed.
Yeah.
And it's very much atmosphere. You know, you walk past one and then a bat like jump scare you through a window and stuff like that.
Well, that's also not just brown and orange either. It's pretty good.
Now,
I like the DLCs
next,
for that
the
game.
scariest game for me, Payday 2. You start off.
Don't act up, Clover.
You
Get
start
down.
off with a game that's not quite got all the features needed for it.
Why is this scary? Sorry.
It's not scary. It's just a terrible game.
Tangent.
Well, yeah.
Payday
So I've
2,
spent
one of
so many
Andy's
hours
favourite
into
games
it.
of the
This
decade.
is quite a
It
terrible game.
It's my most played game, but I would rate it terrible.
Okay, is this my Space Engine or your Space Engine is for me?
I guess.
Mum might turn on the Xbox.
Xbox on.
I would tag Payday 2 as psychological horror because
I think it is.
You started off with this game that didn't quite have all the features. You had one bank which was like a tiny little branch. People were like, "This is Payday 2. We're meant to be robbing a big bank." You get DLC. You get power creep.
Yeah.
It gets better and better.
Are you talking about Payday?
Payday 2.
Right. Okay.
And then
I never understood Payday.
It gets to the point where you get the big bank heist,
Yeah.
and you've like, this is the game I wanted.
Payday 2.
But I've just
Also a good game to be speedrun. Carry on.
yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
How do you speedrun Payday?
Difficulty, because it's really hard to.
But do you do every mission?
Yeah, but there's different types. There's either doing each of the different levels, or there's doing a specific level as quickly as possible.
Okay.
So you get to the point where you've spent 80 quid on DLC, and
80? Oh god.
So I
yeah,
remember
you've got a good game. There's a bit of power creep, but it's justifiable at times. And then suddenly you're like, okay, now there's microtransactions.
Yeah.
We're going to introduce a new difficulty
Swan
because
song,
people have learned how to
talent
play the
tree.
game. We're going to completely nerf dodge because
Good
we don't
story
like
to
people
Payday,
playing the
though.
game like that.
No.
Yeah, great.
In the
story.
beginning, do you know how
Ish.
Payday 2 ends?
They end up on a beach, don't they?
Okay, Payday 2 ends with...
No one cares about
I'm putting my hand...
spoilers.
I'm spoiling Payday 2. They break into the White House
Yeah.
and they steal pardons from
Blank
the
pardons.
president
Blank
so they can write their names down, and then Bane finds an
No.
ancient Egyptian device
Right.
and becomes the president.
Yeah.
So that's the mega
Mega
spoilers.
spoilers.
You
it's
do
the
on the
secret
hardest
mission,
difficulty. You steal the pardons, but then you go underneath the White House,
Yeah.
fight demon cloakers.
Yeah.
Bane becomes the president, and then all of that stuff happens. But normally, the plain normal ending
Okay.
is you steal the pardons, Bane dies, and everyone's a bit sad at his funeral. But yeah, the beach is the super secret ending.
The thing I find confusing about that is they're making new DLC now because basically, if you don't know, Starbreeze is like the Swedish version of Bankrupt, and they're like, "Shit, we
Well,
can't make Payday 3 anymore.
they've
We need to make more Payday 2."
Yeah,
DLC."
they've technically liquidized, rebought themselves from a big parent company which they made themselves.
Wow.
They then got rid of bankruptcy, but they've got no money, so they're technically a studio again.
They have some weird connections with Valve as well.
They
Because
do.
A
like
little
at one
bit.
point, is
Yeah.
there not a level where you go to a train car and you're stealing parts of the
There
engineers
is.
The
level 1
developers
sentry
know
turret?
people from Valve.
There's
or
the
something.
No Mercy Hospital.
Yeah,
Well,
there's-
no,
that's
yeah.
number one.
Yeah.
That's Payday 1. They re-released it.
Oh,
again.
okay.
But yeah, there's
Of course they do.
a heist of the No Mercy Hospital. There's also the CS:GO bank.
Yeah.
That's a
and
good one though.
To be fair, that map's actually
Yeah, I like
decent.
that one. I actually like that one.
Yeah.
There are a surprising amount. Like I'm pretty sure that in the train heist one, they literally steal a level 1 sentry turret.
Yes.
that the
Yeah.
engineer has.
Now I remember it. Yeah.
Is
Yeah, they do.
identical to it. It's not like it's a sentry.
But
it is.
Valve
It is the
like
engineer's centre.
lends out their IPs to anyone that asks. Like in Dead by Daylight, one of the survivors is Bill. Bill. There's like a Gordon Freeman outfit in Final Fantasy 14 or 15.
So this is a tangerine,
Meat
but it's
Fortress?
a tangerine back
Meat
to the list
Fortress,
to a
hot
degree.
dogs, hot shoes, and hand grenades.
One of the things that was on my list for
So
good
like
games
Star
to come out
Racing.
in the decade, single player, is Poker Night in the Inventory. Another thing that Valve obviously.
Yeah, I never played that, but I had it because it gave you the dangerous
Skins,
Dascarades, the
Skins in
Kanye
TFT.
West
Why do I have it?
sunglasses. Probably from.
A
Did you buy a
bundle.
Telltale bundle? It's
Yeah.
made by Telltale.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, as games go, which are literally just playing poker.
Pretty
Even
good.
if you don't know
Well,
a lot
no,
about
but-
poker, it's still quite good
No,
fun
no, but
because
it's-
of the interactions
Yeah,
between
exactly.
the characters from different
Even
universes.
some anime
It's like
ones.
Sam and Max,
Well,
Heavy.
The first one is Heavy.
Yeah, Heavy's a good one.
Sam.
Isn't there
and-
GLaDOS in one of them?
Is it Tycho? No, he's in the second one.
I don't pay. The first
Oh,
Telltale.
the characters rather than
I
games.
still, to this day, don't understand how it's a game because
Okay.
are you just there and it's like,
You're playing poker.
right, you're going to play some poker,
Yeah.
here's some random people.
Yeah,
or
it
is
is.
it a
Yeah.
story-based
No.
thing?
No,
No, there's no
You're
story.
playing
It's just playing
poker,
and
but they-
occasionally they put up weapons and stuff from
they
it.
The
interact with each
Lugomorph
other.
The Dangerous Masquerade, which is the white sunglasses. The Pac-Man?
Heavy slow machine gun, Natasha, I think that was one of the ones.
You had the Spy Watch, which was shaped like Pac-Man, I believe, which you can only get from
the
there.
objective of the game?
Win at poker.
The funny thing is, I know more about the game from the promotional items from TF2 than I do the actual game. So that's your sleeper one that no one has really played, but owns because TF2 items.
So weirdly, the first one, right, when you play, I think there's 3 people at the table, and you get Ash Williams, who's the guy that has a chainsaw for an arm from the Evil Dead series. This is the second one, sorry. Rock Sampson from the Venture Bros.
Oh, I love the Venture Bros.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
There is Claptrap from the Borderlands series. But the dealer in the second game is GLaDOS,
that's fine.
which makes for some excellent interactions.
Yeah.
But don't they
And there's
interact?
also, I think Max. Sorry.
Don't they interact with the? Don't they have custom interactions between each other? They will talk. Like Heffy doesn't like some people, and like you like demean other characters if he doesn't like them.
And then in the first game, it's the guy Tycho from Penny Arcade, who's not a character per se, but it's his personification from the comics that they do.
Right.
It's Max, the rabbit from Sam and Max, Heavy and Strongbad from the Homestar Runner series. It's just a strange mishmash, but it works really well.
Most ambitious crossover since Smash.
Yeah, I mean, there you
Well,
go.
okay, that's why I call Star Racing though.
Oh, that's so Sonic. Okay,
What a great game!
I wasn't going to shitpost on this, but Sonic All-Star Racing Transform came out in 2013, and it is it's the best
Kart racing game on
arcade
PC.
racing game on PC, and there is a lot now because we have Garfield Kart, Kart 2.
That is like Bill Murray.
Sonic
Why
Team
did I go
Racing.
Back to Garfield?
Why did it?
I still don't understand. Like, so I played a lot of it and
You're
got
not
my S
everything,
rank
right?
on it. The only thing I didn't do is the reverse tracks on the career. But I don't. If I think about it, I'm not like, it's like 10 out of 10 game. Of course I got that. I'm there like,
I own this
it's
for
good.
some reason.
Okay,
but
I bought the game
it's
because you
not
said it was really
memorable.
good, right? I just went, okay, it's probably a meme game, but I want to get it anyway. I played it and went, this is way better than I thought it was going to be.
Which
It
game?
is.
Sonic All-Star Racing.
Oh,
And the thing is, I always forget how good it is.
But when you told me about it, I was like, okay, it sounds like a meme game. Sonic All-Star Racing Transform is a terrible name. And when you explained it to me, it's like you come into a plane and you're a boat.
mechanics make it really interesting.
Yeah, but when you don't play the game, you Sonic explain that to someone. You turn to a boat,
of Valve and
then you turn to a plane.
Yeah.
Speaking
It's
of
like,
Valve
how's
and
it
their
any
IP,
different?
you drive around as the pyro in a cart.
Oh yeah,
and then you turn into a spy. I love that they're puns because it's a spy plane.
Yeah.
And then the boat is the Heavy in the airboat from Half-Life.
Yeah.
And every time you're in first place in that game, you have they chant your name and it just goes TF2, TF2. And there's also All-Star powers, which I think All-Star powers really make the game where every character turns into something else, and then they it's like the equivalent of Bullet Bill from Mario.
Yeah,
but it's different.
The name of the game
same.
is like entirely descriptive of the mechanics within the game. However, if you do not know anything about the game, they go, you can transform from a kart racing to a boat racing to plane. There's superpowers, and you can play as Sonic characters and
Sega
characters
and Football Manager.
And Football Manager.
What I forgot about that.
Let me say some of the roster of Sonic All-Star 4. TF2, Football Manager, Shogun from the Total War series. There's a DLC you can play as the Yogscast. You play as Simon, Honeydew,
and Lewis, and so on.
Ryu from Shenmue. All the Sega IP.
So that's what made me get the game. It's like, this is a meme game, but I can play as stupid characters.
Yeah.
But then
you get all the monkey balls.
But then I started playing it.
Wreck-It
great
Ralph.
game.
Another character.
Can I say something as well? This is a weird entry for Game of the Year 2018. It's not actually Game of the Year, this is Consoles of the Year 2010.
Switch.
The classic consoles.
Have you played them?
I haven't played them. Originally my rules were I had to have played them to have them. The reason why I hadn't played them is that I understand, because having talked to a lot of people at work who have gotten them.
They basically emulate. They're like a Raspberry Pi.
They're just stuff which runs these games. But for them, they really were for their childhood. But the PS1 Classic, right? was available. I nearly bought that for Christmas until I actually really looked through the games, and I saw there were some really good games on there,
but not ones
not
you
the
played.
Wii's played. Like it didn't have like Hydro Thunder. Like we had like Monkey Hero.
Rugrats.
Weird games.
I think that's
no
the
one
problem.
else played, but
Toy
we really
Story.
enjoyed.
That's the problem. Everyone has their own experiences,
Exactly.
don't they? But it does come in a nice form factor.
It does.
Imagine.
I would love to have a tiny little PS1.
Imagine if they just sold it as like it was actually a small console.
With the connection to the internet, you can just download whichever
it
one
was
you
an
want.
emulator, and they came to their store where they could resell their games emulated.
They won't make
People
money
would
that
buy
way.
it.
No, they would make.
They would make.
When you said your favourite
Why would
emulator
they
of the
make
year,
money?
I thought you were going to say my bootleg Chinese.
Oh, that
NES,
was good. To be fair, that
It
looks
is
like
good
a Game
device.
Boy.
Wow.
which I have a video about on my channel as well. If you want to check that out.
Right, I have other things. Shall I go through some of the other common
Just
ones?
go quickly
that
through
I
are
think
on
one of the ones
We're getting close
we
to
were
an
talking
ending, I
about. We were talking about Valve. You didn't mention CS:GO.
CS:GO is on the list, but it's under multiplayer.
Okay.
So CS:GO, so the ones which
One of the
are-
most influential games
some of the ones which-
of all time in gaming esports.
Yeah, I mean CSS was getting a bit long in the tooth,
Yep.
so they brought out CS:GO, and it was basically just all CSS were better.
And then they were
You
like,
can't get
"Hey,
that
this
wrong.
TF2 thing, we sold hats.
Let's
Let's make
sell
gun skins.
skins.
Let's make the biggest
Knives.
virtual economy in the
Yeah,
world."
and let's make gambling rings.
There's
crop
people
up.
still to this day streaming opening cases.
Yeah.
Knives are still worth, $1.5 thousand and stuff.
So I'll go very quickly through some of the other ones, and we can talk. I'll tell you what. I'll go through some of the other ones on my list, which are not some of the common ones. that
Okay.
I had, okay. So the single player games I really enjoyed. Papers, Please.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes,
Awesome.
and that's really, really good because it starts off just as a game and you keep failing.
And you learn how
And
to.
you keep failing,
Yeah.
and it beats you down
Until
until
eventually
it forces
you know
you
what
to
you're
change
doing.
yourself.
Yeah.
And that game is another game where I say I look at it like art.
Yeah.
And another game like that, which you probably haven't played, but it's amazing, is called This Is the Police. And you,
yes.
And you run a police station, and you have to send out.
You're like a dispatcher.
Yeah, you have to dispatch criminals, but you start. Basically, what you learn is your predecessor was being paid by the mafia, and they start sending you death threats to don't go to this at this time. And I'm going to have spoilers because you should play the game. But basically, what happens is, my first playthrough of the game, I was like, you know what, I'm going to be straight edge cop. So you start playing as a straight edge cop, and I ignore all the mafia, and they killed me, and it ended my game. I was like, shit, I actually can't be a straight edge cop.
Yeah.
I doxed myself.
Hang on.
Oh no, you're actually on board. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, there you
We
go.
saw the back of Tony's head there.
That's fine. That's okay.
My hand is still up.
Yeah. How are we going to indicate to people that your hand's gone down? They can't see.
I'll
And if they're listening,
B-roll.
or be,
oh yeah,
B-
put your hand up to the B-roll. Hold on, let me
camera
make sure B-roll camera.
it's
is
probably
still-
stopped because we've been going another half
I
an
suppose
hour.
it's technically,
Yeah, it has.
it's technically not B-roll, is it? Unless it's really focused in on like a game box or something.
But it's run out of storage space. Oh god.
Yeah,
Right, put
maybe.
your hand back up.
But then you start playing again, and you have to compromise yourself to keep playing the game, and that's something that I know Charlie Brooker. If you don't know, he used to write video game reviews before he was more famous for
Black Mirror and
TV and Black Mirror and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Alright.
he says Paper Please is one of his favourite games of all time.
That's cool.
So what happens if you go like full mafia? You just don't care about your job.
The thing
That's it,
is, you start getting investigated by internal
so it's
affairs,
the other
way.
and then you have stuff where you can like send hitmen to assassinate people who know too much, and you're trying to balance between that.
Providing for your family is a good old cop.
You have to keep crime down, but you also have to do favors for the mayor, and then the mafia is trying to get you. And there's a story that progresses, and you can only progress through certain points if you keep that balance.
So there's a game like Papers, Please, which is not as good.
Yeah.
Which is, and I don't even remember the name of it. That was almost on this list, but it isn't. Where it's basically set in the UK after Brexit has happened. You're a bouncer on the door, and you're only allowed to let
Right.
certain people into a club. Can't remember where that's called, but that was
Sounds
all
very
over.
racist.
It is. It literally, at one point, people
Games-
are not
I
referred
think
to
it's-
as like where they're from. They're
That's
just
when
called
it
Euros.
that's when it gets in art when
Right.
games force you to make terrible choices.
Yeah,
Mm.
like
And you're like, oh
And 'cause
fuck,
you do
I
stuff
have to
like-
think about
What's
this.
the
Yeah, I don't-
military one in the desert?
Oh, I know
I
what you're
always
talking
get
Spec
about.
Ops: The Line.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Spec Ops:
I
The
always
Line.
forget the name of it.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yes.
like even Papers, Please does that to a degree. Like you watch YouTubers, for example, who are basically they don't want to be negative towards anybody, right? So when Papers, Please makes them ask a question like that your passport says male or female, and they're just like, well, I don't believe in that. I think you can have whatever gender you like, but the game won't let you do that because the game sees it as a binary option. It's just like stamp the damn paper.
Yeah.
Every time, so if you know what Papers, Please, every time basically you work at a border control and between Krakow or something like that. Hang on.
Glory to our Stotska.
There you go.
Lights out.
Our Stotska.
Doing this like it's the very Soviet.
And it's a very sort of 8-bitty almost. Yeah, it's very 8-bitty kind of.
But then you have people who keep coming back with various different things,
got
and they slip you notes like, "Please let me in. I want to see my kids." But you know, if you let him in, you're going to get deducted money, and your family is not going to have the heating on, and they're going to get sick. And you're like,
might be
"Fuck! I need to make some terrible decisions right now."
Who might want to bomb the border.
Yeah.
Or there's people that actually do bomb the border, and then the policies change.
Yeah, it's like now you have to scan literally everybody.
Or you can't anyone from a certain country.
Yeah.
But Georgie's the best reoccurring character.
Yeah.
Easily.
And his potatoes.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm going to quickly go through other ones which are on the list from the single player category, which were I said Firewatch originally, didn't I?
We haven't said Firewatch yet.
Okay, so
Walking
Firewatch
Simulator.
Another walking simulator, but
Good
actually I
walking
really
simulator.
enjoyed that. It was very pretty.
Stanley Parable, if we're going to go walking simulator.
That is on the list.
One of my
Stanley
favourites.
Parable, brilliant because it's just so
And
weird
amazing.
and out there.
Another Half-Life 2 mod.
Again, originally,
Because there's like 50 games that started out as Half-Life 2 mods.
And weirdly, so I was confused about I think last year or something, or possibly the year before that. The narrator from the Stanley Parable is the same guy who did it originally.
Yeah.
I think his name is like Nathan Brannon or something like that. I can't actually remember. Apologies to the person who's not watching this, but still, he actually did a voiceover as a person in a bank in one of the latest Doctor Who episodes, and I recognised the voice immediately, and I couldn't place it, and he wasn't credited. In the title, so I went and found his Twitter, and his Twitter literally says, "Well, fuck you, BBC. Thanks for putting my name in the credits for Doctor Who, despite the fact that I did all the work for it." So yeah, he's in that. That's weird. Anyway, so Firewatch, Mass Effect 2 came out in this decade.
He did.
That game is brilliant.
Only just though.
I tried to play Mass Effect 1 and I couldn't get on with it. I got lost in the set.
Okay, Mass Effect 1 is the same as the Witcher 1.
The
battery's running low, Tony.
It should be plugged in though.
Is it actually turned on at the wall? I bet the answer's no.
I can't get to it.
I'll just talk amongst yourselves. Oh no, I can't get to it either because I've moved this.
What else is on my list? I forgot. Doom 2016 might be one of the best single player games to come out. The best FPS game to come out.
It's on.
Doom 2016
Full power.
Probably one of the best single player FPS games, bar maybe Wolfenstein,
which is also on my list.
Was it the New Colossus?
There's the Wolfenstein 1 and 2, which is Wolfenstein the New Colossus, and then there's Wolfenstein the Old Blood.
New Colossus 2.
Wolfenstein Junior. I can't remember what that one's actually called, if I'm honest. It's the two kids.
Shit show.
Is a co-op version.
Yeah, that's after 2.
Yeah, I can't remember what that one is though.
That's the New Colossus 2, I think it's just called. Anyway.
Those called Youngblood.
So,
are those called Youngblood?
Oh yes, it is. It's called the Youngblood because there's the Old Blood and there's the Youngblood. Yeah. So also on single player list was Untitled Goose Game because.
Okay, I've got an issue with this. Right. I haven't played it. Have you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like it.
Is it
like
just
a
meme?
It's a funny puzzle game.
Okay,
It's a funny
I
puzzle
watched
game.
people playing it and I was really bored because it seemed like more of a meme game where I was like, oh, it's funny that a goose is doing this more than it was an actual good game.
Yeah, I get that.
It's a funny puzzle game.
I like
the
several
puzzles
because it's kind of isometric. I like the art style.
Okay.
I like the fact that it's very clearly set in Britain and it is a very British concept for a goose to be fucking
speaking
up.
we were talking about AGDQ and speedrunning, and I watched the speedrun for any % goose game and it's about 1 minute long. You steal a bell and then you glitch through a fence and you end the game.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Slender was on the list, which we've already discussed.
We discussed off air.
Well, no, we've got the footage.
Basically, Slender was a really important game for horror game genre, but itself was pretty boring. It wasn't a great game. It was glitchy. But I think most people have played Slender.
And we all know Red Letter Media invented Slender, man.
True.
So, not fake news.
Metro 2033. I actually quite like that.
But all
I
Metro
never
games
played a
or
Metroid
just that
game,
one?
but I played Metroidvania games, and one of my favourite games of all time is Ori and the Blind Forest.
And Dead Cells. It's mine.
Okay.
I agree that Ori is really good though.
Ori and the Blind
And Dead
Forest
Cells
is
is great.
fucking amazing.
So is Dead Cells.
So, checking off things we've still talked about. Subnautica, that was fine. Yep, I really liked that game. Thought it was great. There's also DLC coming out for Subnautica, but that will be out
Below Zero.
properly in the 2020s. It's out in
Subnautica.
early access, but the DLC for it is not
It's a
fully available
standalone
yet.
game.
Is it its own standalone
Yeah.
game? I thought it was DLC.
Yeah, no, I think it's
So
standalone.
maybe the reason you have to get it on the Epic Games Store.
Oh, then I won't be buying that. That's sad. I don't like not.
But I
Good
think it'll
choice.
probably come out a year later on Steam. Is
Oh,
what they
that's
do.
all right, I suppose. A game that broke my own rules on this because I said that I had to have played it, and I haven't technically played it for more than like 20 seconds.
What is it?
Journey.
I've played the entire game of Journey. I hated it.
Right. Okay. So this is interesting because I thought it looked really nice.
It's only about like 2 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed
really
like it was
short.
really easy to do because it wasn't really a lot necessary to do, but it did have a story.
It's one of those games that, if you like the impact, basically throughout the entire game, like the good part of it is you're put with a random teammate that you never interact with ever outside of the game. Basically, someone appears and you can start making like you go, and then you have like chimes above your head,
Yeah.
and you can kind of try and interact with this other person.
one
You
of
go
the-
on a journey together.
One of the reasons why I liked it was because it's one of those other games that's like if someone like Anna likes it, then that's a mark of an interesting game. Like someone who doesn't really play games a lot, but does like that.
But like, it is very gameplay light. It's
Yeah.
more of a very short walking
Experience,
simulator. It's more
I
of an
suppose,
experience. But I found that although interesting it is to be matched with a random teammate that you can only kind of communicate with chimes with, I didn't find the gameplay that interesting.
True.
It's like
Is it still
That's
recording? I know
Yeah,
you've scrolled
scroll
again.
it
Scrolled again because I had to turn the cam off.
Ah, cool. Everything's fine.
What's next? I wrote Tony's list, and the two games I wrote down were Stellaris and Space Engineers.
Yeah, okay. Space Engineers is not the best game ever made, or even in the 10s.
Mm.
I do like it. It's
you
come
have,
a long,
like,
it's come a
thousands
long-
of hours
Yeah, it's
in
come
it.
a long way. Stellaris, on the other hand, is by far like one of my favourite games of all time.
4X.
Of any
Yeah.
genre, but like it's up there with like Ratchet and Clank and things like that. What we have discussed before was like one of my favourite games of
Someone
all
had
time.
Anno. You had Anno Domini on your list, didn't
Anno.
No, I did mention Anno 2070.
Yeah, I really
Um,
like Anno 2017.
I loved that when we played it.
And it's co-op.
Yeah,
It's a co-op city builder that actually doesn't suck.
I just can't be bothered to play it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just one of those.
kind of played
It's
it
great,
too much though.
but
There wasn't.
I want to go back to it now that I've had a bit of a break.
Yeah.
I think Anno 1800 we should probably get
So-
because they've added more mechanics.
Then we had
So-
two which we already talked about, which were Stanley Parable and Bioshock Infinite. That was my single player list, but we vaguely covered it
But
already.
I would say Bioshock Infinite Burial at Sea Part
Best
2
DLC.
would be my game, but I would actually say I preferred Bioshock 2 to Bioshock Infinite because they both came out this
Oh, did they
decade.
both come out
Yes.
this decade? Oh, well, Bioshock 2 would obviously win for that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think Bioshock 2 is better.
Although Bioshock Infinite did do a lot of interesting stuff, and I
Yeah.
think the
No,
DLC
it just-
transcended the game.
Yeah.
I felt like when I saw the Bioshock Infinite trailer and the first thing that happens is it goes underwater and it sees it, I was like, cool, I'm getting more of the same. And then it shows you that's a fish tank.
Yeah, they definitely
I
went
was
the
a
right
bit
way with it.
disappointed in my own self because I want more lore about Rapture, but I understand that's not how good games are made, you know?
No, but you could make a Bioshock 3.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that is possible still in this
So-
universe because there's some more interesting things you could say about it.
I had
But
words
they made the
with,
Burial at Sea DLC.
True, which is basically
So-
Bioshock 3.
I had words with myself about Civ 6 and 5 because I put them in the multiplayer category because I
As
think
long as
they
you,
are-
as long as
Okay.
you don't write down Civ Beyond Earth, then
No,
I'm fine.
that very much
I-
popped up on other lists I'd read about. I was obviously looking through lists
Yeah.
of games that came out in 2010s. I found that.
I used to like Civ 5. Then I played Stellaris, and I can't go back.
I love Civ. I never play 4X.
Completely
games,
different game,
No,
by
but
the
I
way.
think
agreed.
Civ 5 is an amazing game.
I always hated
Yeah.
stuff like, I know they're not the same, but Settlers and
Yeah,
Age
You
of
see,
Empires.
me,
But
me
I
and
really
Dave
like Civ.
started playing Civ 5 again.
But
But because
me,
Dave-
you and Dave all like that sort of
Yeah,
game, don't we?
But the thing is, Dave's played it continuously, so he's really good.
warmongering only.
I'm not. So what we've done is we've made Speed Civ 30 seconds a turn, So he's off there expanding, and then he's suddenly got way too much to do. Whereas I like to knuckle down.
Yeah. Have a single city,
big fortress,
really big.
Well,
There's lots of science.
when
it balances out.
Whenever we play with
It's
each
great.
other, Dave is warmongering.
Yep.
Andy's trying to do culture and tourism,
Yep.
and I'm going around talking to all the city-states being a Democrat.
This
you should
is
be science,
very
not
similar.
culture.
Like it's basically whenever I play with either I used to play with Gemmel and Ash, right? Ash would always try and be I'm an absolute warmonger with a little bit of tourism on the side. Gemmel would act like he was just doing tourism and nothing but that, but was secretly building an army and coming to get everyone. And I was purely going for the science victory. And every time I did it, I would never win because the science victory takes too fucking long.
I think democracy is probably one of the easier victories if you have
Definitely.
lots of city-states.
Yeah.
Also, for your winning, you should not have tried to win with science.
Yeah,
you should have. You would have been way ahead of everyone else. You should have attacked them.
This is the thing.
Your lesser units would have completely. If you sent out a submarine against their
You want to talk
ships of the line, basically a Kraken is just destroying their ships.
You wanted to say most impactful DLC, Brave New World.
Yeah.
Yes, that was actually
And
very good.
what was the other one?
Appeared in
Of Gods and
popular
Kings.
media
I was.
by is it Ice Cube?
There was an episode of Law and Order, and he said, "I read on Kotaku. It's better than Civ 5 with the Brave New World expansion pack."
It's world renowned.
Yeah.
And I will say, if you want to talk about Civ 6, have you played Civ 6 with the new expansion? Or the
No, they did
year-old
have
expansion now?
There's like volcanoes they added.
Yes, it has natural disasters. It actually has a CO2 meter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. Here's the weird thing. They added in the industrial section. They added the mechanic where like some things output carbon dioxide. You think, okay, it's just a gimmick, right? No, you start competing with other people. Oh, I have to pump out more CO2, so I need to outcompete because they're out.
Because you can
better
measure how
industry.
much CO2
Their industry is
they're
way better than you trying to be eco, and you're fucking up the same world. So suddenly, like, oh shit! But then your cities start to get flooded and they get completely destroyed.
That is quite interesting.
That is an amazing
I would be
DLC.
tempted to actually go and reinstall that.
Also,
because
Civ 6 you have to make districts, right? It's even worse for flooding because you slowly lose districts as you get smaller and smaller.
Right, so now we're into the multiplayer category. This is still not all the common ones, right? We talked about Rocket League, CSGO, Civ 6, the new Star Wars Battlefront. I thought that breathed life.
Two.
Because I think the second one is
better
the really
now.
good game.
The first one is a half-assed game.
But I kind of stopped playing a lot of games around the time it came out. But I really did quite enjoy it. Like one of the game modes I really enjoyed was like the three heroes versus each other on either side. I thought that was great fun. I thought it breathed life into it. And then
they had that. But Battlefront 2 has the best game mode of all time, which I don't think was in the original, but it's a game called Ewok Hunt. And basically, it's zombies mode, but the zombies are Ewoks.
But it's way
You're
more
stormtroopers on the forest moon of Endor at night, and you have flashlights, and then Ewoks come out the trees and they start killing you. Yes, it's amazing.
Don't they turn people into more Ewoks?
Yeah, if you die, you become part of the Ewoks, and then the stormtroopers are trying to escape off the forest moon.
That's pretty cool.
And also, like in the first game, the way you acquired to become the hero was, I think, the card spawned on the map, and the first person to get to it got it right. But in Battlefront 2, it's a point system.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you use points to buy ships, you use points to buy better units, and if you get to like 4,000 points, then you can buy a hero.
Also,
cool.
in 2 of the updates, it actually had flying.
They also added prequel content, which is amazing. Everyone loves prequels.
I do actually love the prequel content for that, though.
You have General Kenobi, Grievous.
I do have one issue with the point system, because all the good players get to play as the heroes, who know who the heroes, and then kick your ass. And all the bad players
slowly get to it.
Occasionally play as the hero, have no idea what they're doing, have just wasted 4,000 points.
There's a big
and then
problem
they've got to
with
play badly again. There's another go.
There's a big problem with the star cards because you can level them up by playing more, but they're not like gun attachments where they take away recoil, but they add something
just
straight upgrades.
Okay, so it's not pay to win, but it's play better to win.
Because you can get the loot boxes.
Oh, okay.
Did they remove that? Or?
Yeah, that's gone.
Initially, the problem was it was pay to win because you could buy the star cards, but they've removed all loot boxes.
It is
now.
still play to win though. It is still the
if
more
you're
you play,
better,
the
you'll
better
get
stuff
quicker,
you get.
and then you will be better.
It's a
anyway.
pay to bully like World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Yes.
You level up so you can gank noobs.
Yeah. Which
Right,
is tired.
so there are two more on this list. One I almost put into a different category, but I put it on here: tabletop simulator,
Yeah.
allowing
Definitely.
people to
Yeah.
play board games, but not having those board games.
Or make your own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great, good fun.
Children's. You never fucking like a children's card game or a card game.
I'm technically making Lizards of the Coast.
I don't know if any of you three have played this. If any of you three played Viscera Cleanup Detail,
Yeah.
Yes, I love that game.
great game.
I'm not.
Needed to make sure.
I'm
that
a
was on the
huge
list.
fan.
I
It's
like it.
hilarious.
I like it, but
Yeah.
I'm not. I wouldn't say
It's the
great.
kind of game you can't play if you have friends who are dickheads, but
Yeah.
you love playing
Yeah.
it with friends who are dickheads because it's funny.
Yeah.
Like you're like,
'Cause-
right, we're going to clean up this bit, and then suddenly someone just comes on and they just knock over all your fucking mop buckets.
I would
You're like,
say-
"You fuck!"
I'd say if I describe Viscera Cleanup Detail in one word, catharsis.
Yeah, it's just like this face is hideous, but I'm going to take all these nice chunks
Picking
of
up
meat
these
down to
alien
the
chunks and the
incinerator.
bullets and
Yeah,
stuff.
you just individual bolts or put these away,
Yeah.
and then Dave comes through with a corpse
Yeah.
and splatters
Or
everything.
it's on like a clean-up machine or whatever, and just drives through and knocks everything
It
over.
get-
And it's
it
like
gets
an
more-
episode of Top Gear. Like you got the one person in the corner who's James Smith, like this smoke goes there,
Yeah.
and then Clarkson just comes through.
Power! But it gets more. It's not just like a one-note game where you start off and you're just cleaning static environments. It gets more interesting. I think we even did a spotlight on this. One of the levels, to shoot stuff out, you put it into
Isn't it?
space.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
There's
like
zero
gravity.
There's
element
another
to
one
it.
where it's like a sand one, and the way you destroy trash is you throw it in like this Snarlack pit that opens up.
Yeah,
There's even like DLC. There's like Halloween. There was like
there's a Christmas one.
they just the Shadow Warrior Christmas, and they just made a spy one as well.
My only issue with the game is it's very fun. I like the concept, but you get to the point where, to me, the game loop is just really repetitive and annoying.
I think
I even okay. Doing that is still cathartic because you slowly start to clean everything. So
Yeah.
that's fine. But the going back and forth just feels like busy work that No Man's Sky has.
The thing is,
as well.
even if you get a good team together and you're like, right, we're actually gonna do this. We're gonna do it, and then you finish it, and then
it doesn't feel finished.
you think, right, we're done. We've done everything.
You go to the
Everything's
report,
The performance
it's
report.
95%.
Yeah, and
What
you're
else
like,
we missed?
exactly.
And
Yeah,
there's
that's
no way to
also-
go
there's
back
no
and say I would
satisfaction.
like to do that bit more.
Yeah.
It'd
Yes, I agree.
been nice if they had like a map and like it would show you like a heat map of like what percentage you've done in each area.
Another, it's
Yeah.
like
So you could then go and
You-
Because
finish
there is
it.
the scanner,
But it's terrible.
yeah.
Well, on purpose, I
It's
think.
like
fucking awful.
another game that makes you really feel like a space labourer, like you're just cleaning up after people and you feel like trash. Deep Rock Galactic
Yeah, I was gonna-
has this very high vibe of, we're sending you in to help people. We don't expect you to come back. Don't ask for bonuses or anything.
Yeah, it's very corporate and mining and with dwarves.
You're dwarfs that are corporate mining on planets full of bugs that are trying to
Yeah.
kill you.
If you ever want to play
That's another great game.
a
in the
great
last decade.
dwarf or dwarving simulator, yeah, Deep Rock Galactic.
The last one for me on my multiplayer
Very
one.
quickly.
Go.
Other dwarf game, Vermintide 2.
Oh, that's
Oh,
very
okay.
good apparently. Lots
Yeah,
of my friends
amazing.
play it.
I saw
I've
someone
played
play
it,
that,
apparently it's very
but,
good.
It is really
I've
good.
played
yeah.
through all the maps and it's really
Because I'm not a big fan of Left 4 Dead, but like it looks like a Left 4 Dead game I would want to play.
Vermintide 1 was Left 4 Dead with rats,
Yeah.
and it wasn't very good, but Vermintide 2
Two is
actually
with-
improved a lot.
With the actual
Yeah.
combat mechanics, it's
It's fun.
amazing.
What year did Bad Rats come out? How is that not?
Oh,
big
God,
game?
I don't know.
2008.
Have you seen the Steam account where it's like, I love bad rats?
Oh, he's just bought
And then-
all of the content for cards and stuff.
No. He's just got so many hours on bad rats. It's literally over a year of playtime.
Wow.
Speaking of Mass Effect 2, have you seen the creator page on Steam? It's like, this is my favourite game on Steam.
No.
That's a reference to Mass Effect 2.
I did not know that.
Okay.
So the way the Steam gifting is, you couldn't decline gifts. So people would
literally.
send people
Copies of
bad
Bad
rats,
Rats. We did that for a while. 'cause
but
it
now
was
you
like
have to
5p
accept
buy.
or decline.
And you can't give them gift copies. They
I think I
either
sent-
get the money back or
Yeah.
they get the game.
I sent you a copy of like Zombie Bowlerama or something. It was
Yeah.
meant to be like a terrible zombie bowling game.
We played. There are several times we've done that. Like we bought each other copies of a cheap game called Bloody Trapland, which actually turned out to be quite good fun. I can't
Forever
even remember what it's
Racers.
about.
You see, I've got a game in mind, but I don't want to spoil it for whoever's next birthday's coming up.
Oh,
It's a simulator, but that's all I can give away.
Hand simulator.
Keanu
No.
Reeves simulator.
No.
Train simulation, all this
No.
DLC.
It was
That'd be bloody
previously.
expensive.
It was previously
That's
the
only
worst
$12,000.
rated game on Steam
Wow.
until a popular YouTuber played the game, and then obviously a few more people bought the
House flipping simulator?
game. No,
That's a good one, I
no,
heard.
it's a little bit odd. Think tall.
Farming simulator.
No.
Mechanic simulator.
Skyscraper simulator.
Skyscraper simulator.
Yes.
Sounds
It
terrible.
was sitting at 6%.
Well, literally,
positive
Wow.
review.
Wow.
Literally yesterday, I was watching Lying in Bed Simulator. Someone was streaming it, and basically, I think it starts turning into a psychological horror game.
Oh, okay.
Lovely.
That's the way. I was like, that's the only way you can go with this game.
Right, last one on the multiplayer one was Titanfall. The first
Yeah,
one I
two.
thought, no, the first one, because
No,
I
two.
thought the first one was actually pretty good because it was something new.
Yeah, I
It
had
had
the
some
original
really
Titanfall.
stupid elements, like the smart gun.
Yeah, but they
That was
fixed,
like lock on fire.
they fixed tons of that stuff in 2 though.
They did. I enjoyed playing that, but then I got bored of it very quickly. So I put it on there because it was something different.
Play the
but
campaign in 2?
I did. I thought that was alright.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
I didn't like it that much.
Really?
Like
I
I,
loved
thought it
it.
was an
I
interesting
really liked
concept, being
If-
twins
if-
with your Titan.
If
but
you've
not
played
that great.
Titanfall, you should try Apex Legends.
I did, and Apex Legends. What was after having tried Fortnite
Yeah.
and then playing Apex Legends, which is bizarre because we've barely talked about Fortnite, which would be at the top of a lot.
It
of
was on
people's
my
lists,
games
I
of
think.
the year list, yeah.
Because it's
I love that
super
game, it's
hard
amazing.
to ignore.
I like, people hate on things that I'm going to go into quick, but people hate on things that are popular. Fortnite is a really good game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it has got a lot of stuff. It's just that what I was saying previously is like playing that,
Yeah.
not being very good at it, then playing Apex Legends,
Yeah.
just showed me that I'm not good at the whole resource gathering, building.
Battle Royale.
Yeah, I'm not good at Battle Royale. And that's the point I realised that a generation has moved away from me.
The
at
thing
that
I
point.
started with
Fair enough.
PUBG, which I think is probably one of the hardest Battle Royale games.
I always
to
forget
play.
that that's not free to play. I'm like, why did I pay for this?
Why did
But we have like 50 hours in it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we won. Oh, I don't know about you guys, but I won one squad game with you, and that's my only win on the entire game after 50 hours.
So
Do you find that because like in between the combat is at the gathering? Do you get bored of the gathering and finding new stuff?
For me,
and-
when I
and
played
making decisions?
Fortnite, it was at such a big skill ceiling. It's another one of those things where it made sense when I had a gun and I could find people and shoot them. That wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
I
See,
could gather
if you
together
didn't-
the resources. I could not build quick enough.
If you
Like,
didn't
what
play on
just
release,
wasn't
it-
dexterous
yeah.
enough for
The thing with Fortnite, I was really good at Fortnite in the beginning because it's not a gun game; it's a strategy game about
Yeah.
building. And
Yeah.
I very quickly got into the building. I would just build on people and kill them, and then I go back and play it now, and there's kids building, fucking
towers, and
skyscrapers on top of
buildings
me,
everywhere.
and they even have AI bots now as well in the game. I think it's one of the first.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I think Fortnite is so interesting. It's because of the ongoing changing and story elements, like in like all this concerts with Marshmallow and stuff like that. Is
Yeah,
that's really
yeah.
interesting.
It
They
makes it
just
more
they just
interesting.
released the ninja skin,
But
for
it's got
Fortnite.
away from me. It's,
Yeah.
At that point, I was like, I will never get into this.
No.
I am too old at this point, and I'm only 27. That's quite sad.
Okay, boomer.
Okay, boom. And that was my multiplayer list. We've gone through mostly everything. The only things I'll add,
What's on my list?
well, I'll get to the common ones. So I'll
'Cause
have
I
a look at your
can't-
one
I
in a
can't
second.
remember what
We're drastically coming up to.
It's fine, this will
So
be
well,
our
well,
bonus.
well,
Keep
11
going
minutes.
until we finish the list.
So, party games.
Schindler's List.
Jackbox party packs,
Yeah.
1 through 6.
Yep.
Sure.
All of them came from
100%
that
agree.
decade.
My personal
I'm
favourite
gonna
is
disagree,
3.
but
They just have great games in them. They're games you can play with your family, everyone enjoys them, and that really started a genre of people being able to use the TV around with their device.
Yeah,
I love them, but I can only ever end up playing 1 or 2 games from each pack. The other 2 or 3
it's
just feel like a waste of
Drawful
money.
And some of the other ones in there, that are the good ones. And the
Yeah.
rest is just like, if there was a mega Jackbox party pack, I could only buy one and it had those ones in it, you would do.
Yeah.
But
So like
still
quick,
good fun.
So like Quick Flash, you're gonna play.
Yeah,
Trivia Murder Party, you won't play
Won't
because
play.
there's Trivia Murder Party 2.
yeah.
There's Zeepeldome, which is the worst game out of all of them.
There's that weird googly one, which is like, what percentage of people asked a question?
Yeah,
That's one of my
alright.
favourite
Yeah, I like
games.
that one.
Yeah. But there is so much variety there as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, do you
So,
remember? I think it might be Body 1, Word Spud.
Oh,
No one knows how to play
No
it.
one has
And
really
every time we like, what game should we have? I'm like, Word Spud,
Word Spud.
And no one knows how to play it. But a game we played recently was Use Your Words.
Yes.
And I had to convince Andy to get it because he was like, oh, it's basically like Jackbox, but you only get one game.
Yeah.
But the main premise of the game is it shows like a movie clip and then you have to subtitle it. And
it's
that
hilarious.
aspect itself is just funny enough to make a whole game.
Have done for years. Like we used to do it when you would turn the volume down, you'd watch something and you would put your own words to it, or alternatively you put on the German version and then just
it's usually like a Japanese film of like Godzilla, and then you subtitle it.
The best feature of this game is the house answers. They're actually good. Like you can't tell which of the people's answers.
Every question they put a house answer, and I vote for it like at least 50% of the time.
You get minus points.
Talking of games that like this is why this one's under there. Keep Talking and No One Explodes. Have you played that?
Yes.
No, I haven't. But I feel like I never want to be the person reading the manual because that's the boring part.
It's actually the more interesting part.
Really?
Genuinely, because it's so hard, especially if you give someone a paper-bound copy of it. You don't give them a piece of paper to make any notes about anything they're doing, which is even more hilarious. It becomes so hard. Like, it's another one of those games that people have speed run to the point where some guy who was Bright Spark, basically he's built a bot that he can talk to, and when he picks up a bomb, he can just quickly say, serial number is this many faces, button is blue, reads this, and then the bot will just read into his ear, cut red wire 4-1, and just give him a bunch of instructions and solve it really quickly.
Because
that's really interesting.
I really enjoyed it when I first played it, but when you start playing with one or two other people, you learn the steps.
Yeah.
You sit there with the bomb and you sit and do 3 out of the 4 puzzles with them because that other puzzle you already know the solution.
Yeah.
And at that point you just, I don't know, it feels like it's breaking the game almost. But no, it's a great game. But
I like Keep Talking No One Explodes. One of the reasons why I like it as well is because you can also do it in VR.
Yeah.
That makes it a bit more fun as well because you might drop the bomb at some point. That's just half the fun. Is then watching someone scrabble around in VR trying to pick up a bomb and cut the wires, and sirens start blaring for no reason. An alarm clock next to you just going
all the
off.
lights go off, and you're like,
what do I do now?
I don't know what.
The VR game we didn't talk about, Google Tilt Brush.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
I class
Is it
that.
a game though or a software?
It's probably
Experience.
it's just an experience. I put that in the same category as the Lab because it's one of those free ones that.
No, but
VR
it's
came
worse
with.
than that. It's like, is GIMP a game or a software? To me, it's in the same vein as an editing thing.
Yeah,
it's
I
an
guess
art
so.
and editing.
It's software, but it's still something that enables.
It's worth
VR.
it's worth
people to do stuff.
It's worth talking about VR actually because it is fucking amazing. Like you can explain it like, oh, it's just MS Paint in VR.
But until you
that
actually go in
alone-
and look at it yourself, you're like, oh, I don't get this until this point.
Yeah,
It
that
is
alone
weird.
is enough, and it's like it's well done. It's like it's precise enough to be able to do things, and it's just like you're in the art. You can make 3D art.
So I'm going to read the other ones which are common, right? Hearthstone.
Yeah.
We talked about Doom.
Early Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Batman Arkham City / Night.
I think that was.
Night is basically only on
I
my
think
list. I think.
Asylum was an amazing game on its own, but I
Yeah.
really like the open world aspect
open
of
world was really
Arkham
cool.
City.
The only reason why I put Night on it is because obviously when it came out it was trash and I couldn't play it, and that annoyed me because I wanted to like it because I wanted to drive the Batmobile everywhere, and that made me feel like Batman, and I love.
Okay. Problem though, in the story they made it so that it was still basically Arkham City where there's no actual people.
True.
I want to play Batman in a fucking city
where-
called Gotham with real people in it, not just criminals.
That is very
That's
difficult.
bullshit.
And I think half of the problem that people had with Arkham Knight as well was specifically actually the Batmobile, is the fact that Batman doesn't kill, and then you go driving through like swarms of people, and then they basically bounce off the car, but they've been electrocuted, and that's them not being hurt, not the huge
amount of
impact.
It should have been a
like-
mechanic. Like you get deducted not points, but like you become more immoral the more people you
Yeah.
kill.
Well,
if they actually had that as a mechanic in the
The
open
first game was very empty, but it made sense because you were only in the asylum
Yeah.
and lots of criminals had escaped.
It's
and you were trying to
basically a
put them
stealth
back in.
puzzle horror game
Can I
with
say as
combat.
well, one of the most convincing out-of-game moments I've ever experienced was when Arkham Asylum pulled that bullshit where you were going slightly mad and you're in this position and the joke, and then the game crashes and starts having a looping sound thing.
Yeah.
The developers must have played Half-Life or a Source game at some point to know that. Every gamer who's done that has known that their game's about to crash when they hear the over and over
You
again.
load into Garage Mode, it's like,
fuck. And then suddenly it restarts. And you're like, what's happening now?
Yeah, that's good.
That got me. I thought that was a great bit of game design.
I think we can all agree the end of Arkham Asylum is shit, though.
I think there's what?
Do you remember the ending of Arkham Asylum?
I actually
You
don't.
fight the Joker on a roof when he's pumped up on steroids.
You're both
isn't it?
pumped up with steroids. You're both two muscly men doing climbing on a roof. It's the end of a Marvel film. That was shit.
It wasn't so. And then I had Deus Ex Human Revolution, which we talked about, which I did really enjoy.
I really like that.
But I don't really. I think it's mostly because I've never been more obsessed with the main character.
Yeah,
Adam Jensen just seemed like a really interesting character for me, and I think.
And the world is interesting as well.
Yeah, and the weirdest part is that it's a 50-50. If you ask a person, they'll either think that Adam Jensen's just a main machine, he just is ridiculous, or they'll think he's really interesting. And I think it does. It's part,
but
obviously.
But if you actually look into if you play it like a dumb Call of Duty game, you're not going to get anything out of it. Because
stealth
every single quest, you can do multiple things with it, like the original Deus Ex. And it actually is interesting to think, how would I actually approach this? Or how would the person I've created or the character I'm making...
You see, my character ended up just being basically a generic silent protagonist, where they're trying stealth a bit,
but to be fair,
a bit sideways, I'll shoot everyone.
Yeah,
so
but to be fair, if you do it in a slightly different way...
So I love the world, but the character himself, like you say, I've not got that. He's an interesting character.
They should have. Yeah, they should. That's what I said. They should have done with Arkham Knight is then add a morale system. So if you just go around killing everyone, you get more interesting. People interact with you differently. Yeah. You should have like a fear mechanic. So you just go everyone down.
That
you can, but it's not enough. The gameplay itself.
Like in the first one, it's a bit Mass Effect-y. Press this button not to die, or press this button for other people to die. It's not great.
Yeah.
And they did make a few mistakes, like in the original Deus Ex. If you didn't want to fight a boss, you just wanted to talk to them, you could. Or if you wanted to just bypass them and never actually interact with them, you could go through some vents.
I didn't like the
fact... They patched it afterwards so that you could do some of that. That it wasn't...
There was the one bit, though, that you play the game again, you know not to go to the medical facility to get the new chip.
Yeah.
And it's like...
I like that, though. Yeah, I like the
first time through it, it's just like... It's not satisfying to be hampered by something that you've got no information about.
But the first time through you don't know you're being hampered.
Yeah, and that's true. The first time I played through, I wasn't affected by it, but only because I'd forgotten to go to the medical facility. Right? And I was pissed off at myself, because you can't really fast travel very effectively and go. You can in the second one, I think, you can fast travel a bit more. Like you can go halfway through a mission, hubs, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in the first one, you couldn't. I was like, fuck, I never went and got the Praxis upgrades. And then I got there and it's like, I see you didn't get your upgrade. I was like, yes, conscious decision. I'm very smart. Yeah. Not a clue. No. But no, I enjoyed both that, and I actually did enjoy Mankind Divided as well because it had various hubs, and I basically just wanted to see.
I'm still not playing
the overall story.
I don't know whether I should or not.
The overall story of Mankind Divided isn't as good, I don't think.
No, it's the thing is, it's a bit more of the same.
Yeah,
and. You either want that or you don't, and I did. I wanted to go back to the Deus Ex universe. I get more of the same, but some people
didn't really care for the old Deus Ex universe because it's just too old graphics for me to care about.
Yeah, a lot of people love the original.
I love. Okay,
it's an age game. I talk to people at work, and it's the same. They say that I love that original, and it's nothing like it, and it's but I really like it.
I want to point out the amount of level of choices you can do is only in like the first third of the game. And then the rest is kind of not as good as the first third. But I appreciate the mechanics and like how cool that is, and I want more games to have this, even if it takes a long time to develop those sort of mechanics.
The last two I had on the common list: Call of Duty Black Ops.
I haven't played it.
I think it was on your list.
Yes.
I thought that was a great... I don't like COD games, I should preface this. I like Modern Warfare 2 because I think basically everybody did, right?
Yeah. Modern Warfare 2 is my favourite.
It was pretty good, right? Especially like the multiplayer specifically. The story, pretty good, but the multiplayer, great.
Yeah.
I loved the story and the multiplayer of the original Black Ops. Like, there was just so much in terms of the gunplay online. The maps were actually really interesting. There wasn't constant camping. It just was interesting.
So for me, it was like Modern Warfare 2, amazing game. Black Ops, you're like, great game, great zombies, but suddenly you're realising that it's the same thing every year. Then you just take a giant gap and then go, the newest Modern Warfare, and it's like, this is Modern Warfare 2 again, it's a great game again. And it's as long as you've got that gap and you don't waste £50 every year, it's awesome.
But like,
I don't know
the reason I really love the story in Modern Warfare 2 is you had like the No Russians mission.
Oh god, yeah.
Remember, do you have moments like that in Black Ops? Because I've never played it.
So Black Ops is different in that it talks more about the concepts of MK Ultra. So it's a bit more like, the kind of Jason Bourne and Treadstone stuff where they're trying to introduce people as sleeper agents underneath the radar. And I'm going to do a spoiler for a game which is quite old but did come out in 2010. It does turn out at one point one of the main people you've been talking to throughout this entire game is yourself. You met a person who you did have a connection with in a Russian jail, like a gulag essentially, and you idolise him. And then at that point, the MK Ultra basically turns the bizarre and horrifying things you're doing. The way your brain copes with it is that Reznov was doing that, it wasn't me.
And Reznov is the best character from World at War, and to bring him back like that, it was just awesome.
Cool. So Call of Duty gets a bad rep a lot of time. They have made some good games though, I think.
People love the old Call of Duty. I really like Call of Duty 3. Was another great game.
I think up to Modern Warfare, it was all like new territory. People hadn't dealt with like nuclear war and that in that sort of environment, and to have the No Russian mission, it was such a media hype thing because no one had thought to put that into a game. It was like, you can't do that. Yeah. Don't go around, killing civilians.
It's just like, but that's what happens in the real world. Yeah. It's like, oh shit.
This is terrorism.
And then the last one on the common list, similar vein, was Battlefield 3 and 4. So,
but not 5.
I don't like 5 because I don't like World War shooters.
I really liked 5.
But I know lots of people would have liked it.
I think 5 might sway you.
Battlefield 3 is my favourite game, but I wasn't that into Battlefield 4.
No, Battlefield 4 I felt as a similar thing, it was more of the same.
Yep.
I picked it up and I did like it because it meant I had new maps to play through, and I did like the story, but the story of Battlefield 3 was better, and I still think
Battlefield 3 story was okay.
I think it's called Hunting for Sharks or something. The mission where you first get in a fighter jet, like in an F-14.
Oh yeah.
I was blown away by that. I was like, I feel so cool.
I wrote down hoo-ha on the Battlefield 3 because if you don't know, to play Battlefield 3 on PC, you launched it through a web browser, which then was like a social media page, and you can comment on people. The like button was called hoo-ha, and it was like a flexing arm. It was like, hoo-ha.
Isn't that a Marine thing?
No, the Marine thing is hoorah.
Oh, hoorah.
But it was hoo-ha because I was talking to Dave the other day and he said, wasn't it hoorah? I was like, no, it was hoo-ha. It was really strange. Everyone's confused about it. So I still comment, whenever I comment on people's Steam activity, I still write hoo-ha on it.
Yeah. I'm going to read out yours now, Joe. Okay. I'm going to start with one which I remember, but obviously didn't think it was as good as it obviously must have been for you.
Yeah.
Cluster Truck.
Cluster Truck is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Is this a time slow down sort of thing? Jump across?
No, you don't have to slow down.
The way I describe it is, it's a 3D platformer, but the platforms are moving trucks.
Yeah, there is a power up where you can slow down stuff. There's super truck.
There's super truck mode as well, where the trucks only move when you do.
There's a point at which I think that I found it really interesting is the fact that it's clearly still an internet connected thing, because I remember watching a stream once where a streamer was playing it, the devs were watching, and then they started fucking with his game.
So it's made by Landfall Games. They've made a lot of like interesting physics-based games. You have stuff like Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, where it's basically like, those games where you get to make a bunch of units and you get them to fight each other. It's like that, but with like really jelly physics and stuff like that.
And there's like missions you can do, like, you have to defeat this number of enemy units. You only have this number of things you can spawn
but it was one of those games where it was an amazing platformer, had tons of cool levels. You complete them in different ways through buying different power ups, and you had the speed running mentality where you were timed every mission. And then it also had workshop support as well, which added tons more great levels.
Cool. Inside, which is not something I've heard of.
Okay, so do you know the game Limbo?
Yes.
Made by the same people.
Okay, so creepy horror.
But you play
Milo. You play as a little faceless boy in like an orange t-shirt who looks like Milo from Project Milo. But
is that the only reason why it's on your game of the year?
No, it's amazing.
It's a fucking amazing. It's terrifying.
I'm ruining it.
I don't want to ruin the game, but
the story's actually good.
The story's really good. I'm not even going to do a spoiler because I don't want to spoil it for you. But I would say it's even better than Limbo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, you're one of the only coloured things in the world, and there's these black things Like, basically, at the start of the games, you're running down a hill and people are chasing after you with dogs, and you have no idea what's going on, and you're just trying to figure out puzzles.
Yeah, there's no tutorial, just you move left to right.
I see tutorials are always a funny one with me. I like a good tutorial, but a bad tutorial can put me off a game.
Well, okay.
The reason why I've never played the Witcher series is because I was thrown into the first games and I was like, I don't.
Did you play the first Witcher? The controls fucking suck.
Yes,
don't play the first
What are you
Witcher.
talking about? Best game ever made.
Do not play.
I'm 2 out of 7 chapters
If you watch
in.
The Witcher, the TV series, play Assassins of Kings, the second game,
play the second
or
game.
just play the third game because it's the third game.
The second game's really good as well, though.
The second game's really good, but the third game is like almost completely different from the second one. And the first one is almost completely different from the second one.
No,
maybe I'll give Wild Hunt a go.
The fighting mechanics from 2 and 3 are pretty much the same. There's less stuff you can do in 2 than 3. 2 is not open world; it's hub based.
Yeah.
3 is actually open world. It depends. I'm okay with either of them. I prefer open world, but 2
I'd
is
say
also
if
really
you wanted
good.
to play The Witcher, probably just play the Wild Hunt and then go back.
Well,
if you really want
I personally think 2 is a fantastic game.
It's still a fantastic game, but I think for the modern gamer, I think the
I don't think having an open world or hub based changes it at all. Really.
Okay.
It's still quite an open environment. It's just like the old
there are
old
a lot
RPGs.
Of small differences between.
Yeah, there are lots of small differences, but I don't think it'd be You're kind of saying like, Witcher 2, Witcher 3 completely different experiences.
They're not completely different, but they are different experiences.
But I think the modern gamer can play Witcher 2 just as well as Witcher 3, unless you really like open world. Fair enough.
I'm saying
and also
you
Witcher
can
3's...
start Assassins of Kings, but I would recommend most people start 3.
Okay, I wouldn't. I'd say everyone. I would
Okay,
recommend
Agree to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. A Hat in Time?
One of the best 3D platformers of the past 20 years.
Never
heard of it.
No.
Look it up. It's
the new
It's made by
Clank.
a Gears for Breakfast. It came out of nowhere. It was an indie game, and it's one of the best 3D platformers of the past 20 years.
Is it really like Ratchet and Clank? I love Ratchet.
Only in terms of
no. You play as a little girl, and you get hats that change different things around you.
It's the same genre as Ratchet and Clank, but without the
It's a 3D platformer collectathon kind of thing.
Yeah.
With a great story, great bosses.
Quite Professor Layton style graphic.
Yeah, maybe. I've never played that game.
Sort of.
Isn't that a DS game?
Yeah. Okay. I'll give that a go at some point. Actually, so that would be quite good fun.
It's really good.
I miss games like Ratchet. The only thing I miss about
there's a resurgence at the moment of these types of
3D
platformers or 3D platform action games. Ratchet and Clank is 3D platform action, which this is.
Well, I think the trailer doesn't do a great job of showing you how, like, at some points the game can be poignant, some points the game can be... There's a section that's absolutely terrifying where you're in a house and you're being chased by a shadow. Mate, and the bosses are all really interesting. They have their own personalities, and they're really fun to do. Like, and also that's a game I spent I probably spent like 30 hours in the game because I played through the entire game. I then played the DLC, which is great as well, and then it has workshop support. So I played a bunch of maps. Somebody made you remember WarioWare?
Yeah.
They made a version of WarioWare inside A Hat in Time. Like, it has that spirit of mascot platform.
I mean, this guy's literally... I've just paused it at a point. I thought it was looking quite kind of cutesy. But that guy's literally wearing an apron that says bugger off on it.
Yeah.
That's quite neat.
There's tons of tongue-in-cheek humour. It's very funny.
Okay.
Very much, you are a person in this world and no one really cares about you.
Yeah. Like Ratchet and Clank.
I'm still picking the ones which weren't on other people's lists. Hotline Miami.
That's a great... genre-defining.
Yeah.
You talk about Far Cry, Blood Dragon, you got to talk about Hotline Miami.
Yeah, fair enough.
That is like the soundtrack of the game. I think the way I described it when I first played it was...
Dr. Disrespect.
Well, Dr. Disrespect didn't really have a presence back then. But the way I describe it is it's like walking into a Tarantino film.
Okay, yeah.
And the thing I think's so deceptive about the game is you go into a room and you shoot a bunch of people. It's more like a tactical stealth game.
Well, isn't it like Super Hot where they can't only move when you do? To some extent.
They only move when you open a door or they see a body or something like that.
Driver San Francisco was on other people.
That was on Andy's list.
Yes.
That's probably one of the best
Is
racing
that the one
games.
where you
Yeah.
drive around and then you can
Switch
kind of
bodies.
Go,
Yes.
into somebody else's
Yeah.
car?
It's so
Yeah.
amazing. You have
It
to play
sounds
it.
terrible because you would just think I'm just going to swap into the leader's car.
Yeah, but then your car stops moving.
You're still the
Your
other
car's
person.
like slows down.
Oh, so you're still trying to win. It's not like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
in first place now.
No,
It's
so-
you're still in last place.
You're a
but the
cop
car's
and you're
not
trying to
moving.
take down a criminal syndicate.
Oh, that
With
is
the
interesting.
races, you can't steal the other people's cars, but you can steal a truck
Oh,
and
and block
drive
the
it
road.
into. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or you have like a chase scene. You're
That
chasing.
does sound
You're
good.
chasing down a like a gangster. You could go and you could take over a ramp, like a building truck, and you can drive up it like a ramp to get in front of him. There's also like you switch into people's bodies. There's a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor again.
Which
Drive
one?
Sound it's like this guy's driving like an asshole. And he's like, hey, I'm gonna go quiet in a couple of minutes. Like when he jumps out the body, and he says, once I go quiet, just punch me as hard as you can in the face. But there's like a really interesting story because you take over the body of a gangster and you're moving up in this criminal world syndicate. And this is kind of a big spoiler for the game, but it's so interesting because there's a video about.
I like the fact you look like you're trying to block Andy's face.
Yeah.
Spoiler:
Don't block
Andy
Andy.
is the gangster.
There's an entire section where you warp into the mission of the gangster, and then your mission is to chase down you.
Oh wow! Okay.
So you're chasing down yourself, but you're watching it from the perspective of the gangster. But when you turn the wheel, it turns the wheel of the car in front of you that you're in.
Oh god, that's weird.
Yeah, I saw a video about this. It was like the only game that's done second person
properly.
perspective. Yeah,
And just that these soundtracks amazing. They have if you've never seen, have you seen the original tutorial? Have you seen the original tutorial for the original Driver?
No.
You have like 2 minutes and you have to
brutal.
perform like. It's like you have to do a 180, a slalom. You have to do all these tricks that are absolutely impossible. And it's the tutorial for the game.
Wow.
And they let you play through that as an Easter egg in Driver San Francisco.
yeah.
So I mean, that's one of the reasons like why I like Doom so much. Well, it's because they had like the tongue-in-cheek references where you could find the big levers you pulled that opened the old.
Yeah, the old Doom levels.
Yeah,
they had that
with
in
the updated
they had that in
sprites and
Wolfenstein as well.
Yeah. It was different. You
went to
basically
sleep.
to go to sleep and you drank
Yeah.
Wolfenstein. It's still good. Okay. So the only other ones on there, we talked a little bit about Slay the Spire.
Yeah, amazing game.
Which you've already done.
I've talked to
Spotlight on.
death.
Yeah, we
about
talked
Slay
about
the Spire.
that.
Yeah. And you mentioned obviously Steam World Dig 2, which you talked about. Ori and the Blind Forest.
I mentioned that briefly.
Yeah.
Metroidvania platformer, one of the most beautiful games. I feel like at this point, make an artsy platformer and I will play it.
Yeah,
that game is so beautiful.
Well, no, it has to be look good and playable though, because if it's like floaty mechanics or floaty jumping, you can't play it.
It's a Metroidvania game, and it's this beautiful forest, and you're moving through it, and the forest is starting to like be destroyed, and you're trying to save the forest and all the creatures inside of it.
It's like Fern Gully, but a Metroidvania.
It's amazing. Play it.
And the last one that you had on there is
Fee.
Borderlands 2.
Borderlands 2, probably one of the best co-op games.
Great
that you can
game.
sit down and
Ruined
play with
for
anyone.
me. I
What
cannot
the-
play it.
Why?
Because we played, me, Bradley, Ash, and it might have been John actually, and myself, all played through it. We got to the last scene, and my screen just went black. And I didn't get to see the ending, but I could hear it, so it was getting spoiled. I didn't get to pick up any of the loot, which meant that they didn't want to go back and play it again because they were already too high level.
Yeah.
And I had just missed out on it. I wasn't about to just jump into it and start playing with somebody else. And I haven't played a Borderlands game since because it annoyed me
That's fair.
that
It's only
much.
don't spoil the board.
I wouldn't play any other Borderlands game. Borderlands 2 is where you finish.
No, three's you can play.
I played through the entirety of the pre-sequel. It's an okay game. The big selling point of the pre-sequel was you
Is
can
that
play.
a Telltale game?
No,
Which one is that?
There is Borderlands.
that's
Telltale.
Tales of Borderlands or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
But the pre-sequel is the big selling point is you can play as Claptrap, and his special ability is every time you use his ultimate ability, he just has a random ability, and sometimes he just starts dancing and discoing. Like
Sometimes he's a pirate
there's-
ship with a giant cannon.
the thing that alleviates Borderlands 2 as like game of the decade is definitely. There's another game from 2011 as well. I think it might be 2012. I think the DLC is amazing for that game as well. And there's tons of reoccurring, hilarious characters. I played as Krieg, the Psycho. So, and one of the DLC characters is you get to play as the Psycho, and his skill trees are so interesting because there's ones where the more you're on fire, the more damage you do. So you're building skills that set yourself on fire. There's other ones where you get turned into a mega psycho mutant, and you have a skill that makes you do more damage with your axe. But every time you increase your damage with the axe, it increases your chance to hit yourself instead. There's tons of amazing stuff like that. If you haven't played Borderlands 2, play it with a friend. It's one of the most satisfying, hilarious, fun co-op games you can sit down and play.
The thing is, if you get hardcore into it, the end game's actually really fun as well. Just boss farming for guns and loadouts. And
we also played the Tiny Tina's Dungeons and Dragons DLC, which is amazing. They've even gone back now and released a Borderlands 2 DLC this year that ties in the story of Borderlands 2 with Borderlands 3.
I'd like to make a note about it didn't come out in 2010, but I did discover Dungeons and Dragons as an RPG this decade.
Tabletop gaming.
Love.
We used to have you on to talk about board games, but I don't think we talked about a single board game tabletop simulator.
Yeah, we never talked about something like an RPG like Dungeons and Dragons, but honestly, since discovering... I'd always been told by my friends, we should play this. Well, basically by Mr. James Gamble saying, we should play this, you'd really like it, and saying, no, not for me, fam. And then I discovered Critical Role, watching voice actors actually act out the thing. It was amazing, and that's what then got me into somebody at work turned up.
See, I've been the opposite end of the spectrum where I've always tried to get into it, but never could.
I think we always do better when it's like on the cheek, make it more...
You might do better with something
I remember
Fate or
I was
something.
playing and with Irvins as a DM, and it was his first time DMing, and he was trying to metagame us to go somewhere, so I spent the entire time going away from it, and he was like, what do you want to do now? Okay, now I go to a lake and I skim stones and look wishfully across the lake. That sort of stuff. I start trolling people because I kind of get bored. Because I'm such a visual person that sitting down and filling out spreadsheets, it just...
So one of the reasons why I did bring it up is because the digital tooling that's now available for D&D, that did come out in about 2-3 years ago.
Yeah,
D&D Beyond is an online tool which you can build your character sheets on, and it makes it so much more accessible to play. They give you standard player rules for free, so that you can just get going. And it doesn't have all the stuff like all the books, because obviously
that's not the one with the map part as well. That's a different thing. Isn't
that's. Roll20 or something like that?
No, there's that Roll20 is like the old one that you'd have to do, and it's just like basically you can only input PNGs. There's a 3D one that someone's made, not rated very highly because it's a bit fiddly and it doesn't have all the mechanics that you'd want in a D&D thing. But I think they are updating it, and it looks better and better.
I'm not sure. I can't remember what it's called.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's either on Steam or it's not on Steam.
I think it's its own
Most
thing.
things are.
Yeah, that's pretty much everything.
I have backed something on Kickstarter that's made me very interested because of D&D. So I'll finish about D&D Beyond. Giving everyone access to that means that it's so much easier to basically create a character using checkboxes and then not having to know, what type of dice do I need to offer this, because it just says it and it tells you it, and it says because you leveled up at this level, you get this many extra dice to roll. Just having that automatically will happen makes it so much more accessible for people. But one of the ones I backed on Kickstarter recently is a game, like a toolbox, called Tailspire.
Right.
And Tailspire is essentially a virtual miniature tabletop. So there are I guess you'd explain it almost like as Unity assets, even though it's not, for tiles that you build and walls that you build, almost like you would in Minecraft. And then your little miniatures go on top. But it's the best I've seen done so far. And it still has all the things because you have a certain speed you can do in Dungeons and Dragons. You can move 35 feet. It knows all that if you program it.
And there's a vision thing as well.
And you can hide stuff from the party. So if you're the DM, you can basically make sure that a part of the map isn't visible until such time as it should be when they open the set.
I know there's the tools to do it in Tabletop Simulator, but I've never looked into it because it's just...
What, the Fog of War stuff?
Yeah, there's Fog of War stuff. There's all the miniatures, custom miniatures, all of that sort of stuff.
Our friend Matt, who's on the wrestling episode, he loves Warhammer and he paints the figurines. Yeah. And he said he has a game he wants us to play where he's got the figurines and painted it. That could be quite fun.
So I would really be interested in doing that. I have some Warhammer figure stuff and some paints too, because basically. I
Not-
wanted to make
They
my own.
opened.
No. In the cellophane, I wanted to basically start making my own stuff.
You've been on a Lego kick recently as well.
Yeah,
I've been
I
on
like
Lego.
Lego. Lego's cool. I mean, there's trains and stuff all over this place, and there's tons of cars downstairs. But it was more that I really liked the visual idea of having a character that you'd design, and so I asked Emma for some stuff for, like, I think it was my last birthday, and she got me some Warhammer because she went into a shop that didn't really. They kind of saw her coming and was just like, we'll just sell her this. So it wasn't the right kind of stuff. But what I do have, and I am going to mention because it is quite interesting, is wait, that's not it. There's a 3D printing service called Hero Forge, and they will let you design in your own
Blender.
Yeah, basically it is.
Then you export it to their system.
It's their tooling that they use that allows you to then buy it. They'll 3D print it and send it to you, and then you can paint it. This year they're having a Kickstarter for Hero Forge 2.0, whereby if you don't want to paint it, you'll be able to turn colour on, see the 3D model coloured.
It
They'll
says on
send
the
it to
bottom,
you.
if you can read this, I need healing.
Yeah, I did that. They will colour it for you using 3D printer ink, basically. Alternatively, you can pay extra and you can have someone at their place where they 3D print it, miniature paint it for you, which I think is so interesting because this character, she's an Australian lady and she fights using her didgeridoo as a staff. But I find it so interesting that you can do all of this sort of stuff in D&D, and D&D Beyond makes it really accessible.
Because I'm surprised. Well, I'm not surprised. Once 3D printing's more accessible, I can't see the point in buying Warhammer boxes or anything like that. You're just going to print.
Well, other than the fact they own the rights to their images.
When you get more visual D&D, like
piracy, I think initially
that gets more and more expensive.
Yeah,
one of the reasons I stepped back from Magic the Gathering. I love that game, but it got so expensive.
It's similar even with like.
And they kept balancing things to make
Hearthstone
money.
and stuff, right? You still have to buy packs, and
Yeah.
yes, you can play.
It got
You
too
can get buffs,
expensive.
but it's expensive to have a current meta deck.
My other issue
With this.
both of these games is why is there a rarity system other than to make money?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
that's
fucking hate that as a. If it's not a mechanic in the game, don't put it on the card.
The only thing it is with legendaries. That's the only.
No, but even then they slowly try making just normal cards eventually.
because you.
At least
the
in
thing
Hearthstone it is actually something different.
Yeah, but they have rarity in physical card games, right? On purpose.
Yeah,
That's
true.
what I mean, it's all only about money though. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the only thing that has.
With drafting, it's different because
Yeah.
the rarities matter
okay.
for that.
Fair
in
enough.
Hearthstone and digital.
Have
games,
drafting cards separate to other cards and
Yeah.
make all the cards the same price.
This is the thing that, like, with this as well, is that there's two different ways to play. With D&D, it is perfectly possible to have different coloured counters on a map you drew just with a pen and pencil and say, right, we're going to do this. But if you want to have that next step up and really enjoy D&D, having really nice dice to roll and minifigs that look like what's happening in your head makes a huge difference, which is why I'm looking forward to Tailspire coming out. Andy, you had some games on your list. We're massively over at this point.
We're almost
which
at
is
a 3-hour mark.
Mostly my fault, and
That's
basically always happened whenever I was on the podcast.
Well, basically, I just let you keep rambling
You probably need to
couldn't
reset
be
that
bothered
then,
to
don't you?
Yeah, the camera
Or is it
V
full?
is definitely dead at this point.
Okay.
The beat roll will come up randomly.
Yeah, and hold on, I'll start it again. But why don't you read through some of yours if you still want to?
Right, so we had Payday 2 that kind of discussed
talked
that
about
a little
that.
bit. Yeah, great game initially, and then they ruined it. Like the developers for that, as far as I make them out to be horrible, they also went bankrupt. So clearly they were horrible in both financials and taking money off people.
Storage
And
completely full.
you can see like you can
Not
see why they
surprised.
tried to add microtransactions to the game. Like as much as a figurehead as Almir was, I kind of feel bad for him because he generally did care for the game. I believe.
Yeah. Next up, Hearthstone. So played it to death, and
Is that another game that was good in the beginning and not so much now?
it's still good. They're just
No,
So I will say
ruining
something
stuff
about
for me.
I will say something about Hearthstone. You say it's still good. I played Hearthstone when it came out and I really enjoyed it because I could get on with it, play with any card I like, make any ridiculous deck. And even though there were players who were obviously much better than me, if I went into the arena eventually I would get beaten and I'd never get the 11 key the hell it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it because it was very accessible. And now it is at that point where I just don't understand it because there's the different rule sets and everything. It's beyond me. It's too expensive to get back into it. And I just don't find it fun because I'm not good enough.
I feel like they kind of gave up on just developing one game mode because you have standard and you had arena, but now you have standard, arena, Wild, Tavern Brawl, and now Hearthstone Battlegrounds, the TFT version as well. And now they're going to try and balance all cards around this.
Not just those. They're really shit at balance. Oh, this card's overpowered. It's not a fucking printed card.
Up until a year ago,
they've never buffed a card.
Up until a year ago, it was always
that
card's too good.
Yeah, and then
kill it off.
And new sets would just have power creep cards. Yeah. They would literally just stat better than other cards without any text.
Yeah, they tamed that back a little bit.
I'm still saying it's not as good as it used to be.
I did like about Hearthstone was the adventures. Like one of the things.
Oh yeah, that's single player adventures as well.
They were really cool, and I like playing those because that breathed a little bit of life into it. Where I could go back to it.
There's another game mode as well, right? What were they called? The dungeons.
What dungeon runs?
Yeah, dungeon runs. So I thought dungeon runs were my favourite as well. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. That's okay. I hadn't even heard of those. But that for me was when I could come back because even though everyone was better and there were these other rule sets going on, it didn't matter. I just played the single player. It's fun.
See, to you, I think it's the same thing that happened with me and Magic. Like they started out in vehicles and stuff, and I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Only that expansion though. And then
which is the same thing with Hearthstone. You introduced like the rush mechanic or the.
It's short-lived and not well thought out, and it goes away in like a year.
Yeah, the rush one is taking over for charge, which they need to do because otherwise you just build aggro decks. But that's sort of continuous now. But yeah, like Hearthstone, I really enjoyed it, and if I was going to go back to it, I'd have to put, like you say, so much money into it. But I think I could relearn all the new mechanics quite quickly because it's not a difficult game.
You were pre-ordering the new expansion every time, so you were dropping £50 every expansion.
Jesus, Blizzard is good with getting people to hold the money. They're like, I had all of the skins.
Because then I would go, why are you doing it? He's like, I'll miss the card back if I don't pre-order an expansion.
I literally, until I stopped playing,
you're addicted.
I need to get the BlizzCon ticket this year. Why? I get a Hearthstone card back.
Yeah, it was like that though. Like for me, because I had disposable income at the time. I was like, I can buy all of the skins for Diva, even though it's not guaranteed, and she's the only character I play. But I will spend, upwards of probably like £500 or something on skins because I basically had everything because I had nothing else to spend my money on.
You see, I did.
Don't do that anymore.
Do not ever go on your Blizzard account. Well, for me, go on my Blizzard account, look at order history because it keeps it.
Oh,
and
God.
you can see how much money you spend.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
And that's that. At that point, about 2 months after, I was like,
probably
no,
spent.
done.
I'd say over £200 on Hearthstone packs.
Yeah, I've done that in one expansion. Probably.
It's too easy to spend money on games, and it's. This is one of the reasons why I liked getting into board games because if you got addicted to something, you still had a physical thing to play with. Whereas on the computer, it's just literally.
Especially Hearthstone, because you can't give it to anyone.
But if you don't, the dungeon run thing was interesting because it was like mixing the single player adventures with arena. So basically, what you would do is it didn't cost. It basically was a completely free thing, and you didn't need to own any of the cards. So it was great for new players or people who didn't have cards. You would go in and you would pick a pack of cards after you defeat a boss, and that it was like a roguelike deck builder.
And it would alternate, so you'd have like eight battles. The first one would give you a card pack. The second one would give you a passive ability, so all enemy minions cost one more, which might screw over a certain enemy. And that will be another card pack, and you build like the giant deck.
I have played this because it does sound very fun. I think I must have played one dungeon run when it first came out and gone, I'll try this, and then thought that was alright, but I'm not going to go back.
Yeah, it was like.
And then you had the Dr. Boom puzzles.
That
was actually quite good.
That was after I stopped playing. Like the dungeon, I think Kobolds and Catacombs. The video we made one on, I think, was like one of the last ones I played.
Probably, yeah.
But I remember like Toll Biscuit said he hated what Hearthstone had become, but he thought the dungeon runs was great because it allowed you to play with the cards no matter how much money you had.
Fair enough. Yeah. Next up, Tricky Towers. It's
amazing game.
It's just multiplayer Tetris. It's just fun.
It's not just
multiplayer
Tetris. Hold up.
And physics.
Okay, so if you don't know,
I don't.
Tricky Towers is a game where you're wizards playing Tetris, and what happens is when you place a Tetris piece, it has physics. So if you build your tower wrong, it will start to fall over, as well as your opponents can use light power-ups that help their tower be more sturdy, or they can use dark power-ups, which fucks over, give you ice bricks, giant bricks, make your bricks unable to be changed orientation.
A giant bookcase.
And there was a humble bundle, and I said, there's this tricky tower game in here. We should get this, it looks really fun, because I personally suck at Tetris, and I didn't think I would enjoy a Tetris game, because I was so bad at it and I didn't like the idea, but Tricky Towers is an amazing game. It's really
another
good.
one of those where I'm like, think about it, and then Joe's like, no, get it. And I do, and then I'm like, definitely worth getting it. Yeah. Next
Great
up,
art style as well, by the way.
Halo Reach.
Covered that.
2011. We talked about Halo.
It's just nostalgia for me. Love it. Raft, we covered that a bit. Ultimate Chicken Horse.
I've heard of that. Why have I heard of that?
Because it's amazing.
It's a party platformer game where you and your friends build the platforms. So what happens is you build a course with platforms and traps,
and if they change each time, you can add something else.
But the thing is, if you make the course too easy and everyone gets through, it goes course too easy, no points.
Yeah.
So you then have to try and make it hard enough that only you can get through. So you're trying to make the course easy enough for you to complete it, but hard enough that nobody else can get through.
Is put traps way off the screen, and then I know about that trap, and then it shoots a projectile across. I'm like, I'll avoid that one. And then it comes along and takes someone out, and they're just not expecting it.
And then there's tactical, because basically at the start of every round, to grab the platform of the trap, it's a free rush to try and grab something out of this box. Yeah. And sometimes you can grab a coin, and you can go, I'm going to put a coin here, and I'm going to grab the coin and complete the course so I can get extra points instead of placing a trap down.
Yeah.
Really cool game.
So, is it... I forgot what I was going to ask. I've completely blanked. Oh, when you place the trap...
Yes.
Can they see where the trap is?
Yes. Everyone places their trap in real time.
Yeah,
okay.
So everyone's placing it all at the same time. So if they're paying attention, they'll see it.
But they're probably trying to figure out where they want to put theirs.
Because other people can get bombs which blow up platforms and traps.
Yeah. So if everyone's getting annoyed with one piece or like the course is impossible, you do get bombs come up, and then you can say, right, we'll get rid of this thing. And suddenly it's too easy again.
It's one of those games that's really good for streamers, because you can have people vote on what you want in the box, and they'll just say black hole, black hole, black hole.
Yeah. And the black hole affects the projectiles as well.
It's like sounds like Ultimate Speedrunners or whatever it was. The one that just
Speedrunners.
Yeah,
I love that game.
It's a great game. It's really good fun to play.
But I think I got to a point where I played it so much that I got way better than everyone else I played with, and they didn't like playing with me anymore.
Yeah. Like as far as
you love platforms, just
games that go like other games that didn't make my list that I thought could have been on there. Because have any of you played Screen Cheat?
Yes.
Screen Cheat's great. I think
it's
that's a great
good,
game.
but I think
it's niche.
It kind of, for me personally, I think it kind of runs out of replayability after a while.
Because you get the concept and you're like, okay, I'm bored of it.
Yeah,
I thought that was
it's like an okay, 4-player kind of.
Because playing with Joe and Dave, because we're all half decent at shooters, we're all like, I don't know where that is, and like you sort of learn the maps a little bit with the colours and that, and
the colours were
good.
really smart. That each level is has a theme of a colour, so you can tell where you are. Yeah. Otherwise, I think it would be a lot less interesting or a lot harder. I like all the weapons. There's like a giddy horse, and you run into people and stuff like that.
There's a good bit of weapon
variety
in that. Armour 3, for me, that's just fun.
Is it Armour 3 or is it?
I think it's like a Gary's mod or a Skyrim where it allows you to create a better game.
So this is what I was getting. Yeah. Is it because of DayZ? Or is it because...
Fuck DayZ.
No. So, oddly, it's two game modes. One is a multiplayer sort of survival-y type thing with a friend from work who basically it's a little bit of base building, a little bit of collecting, fighting some AI, taking over villages together, resource gathering and collecting and that. It's just fun. And the other thing is just to make an island, one battle this side, one battle on me this side, and just meeting in the middle of objective, and it's just fun.
See, Armour 3, the only reason other than DayZ that I was exposed to it.
The role playing, was it?
Yeah, Soviet Womble making videos on YouTube, and I found them hilarious.
Yes.
I think that says more about Soviet Womble than the
game. But there's tons of games like recently. I think the one that was blowing up was GTA RP. Before that, you could have like Gary's Mod Dark RP, or there was tons of different RP on that. It's just I would call them game hub games that allow you to
like Gmod
create your
Tower
own game.
almost.
So oddly enough,
yeah.
never played
Like
the
one of my
campaign
favourite
for
games
Arma
is Tower
3.
Unite as well.
Don't really play the milsim side of Arma 3 online. It's all the other stuff. It's just fun. Next up, Magicka. It was just
That's
mash some buttons.
that's
Magicka's a
underrated.
good
And then-
game,
and
but
then
I
you-
can't play it properly.
We still need to
Yeah.
beat Cthulhu, by
We
the way.
do because
Fuck Cthulhu.
you start the game by just typing arse, and then you start,
Right,
then
the
you
arse mines are very powerful.
They are.
Okay?
yeah. Then
And
you
Vlad, who's not a vampire.
I am not.
Yeah.
I travelled at
Comedy
enormous
is
vampiric
amazing.
speed.
Also, we need to play the second game as well.
we do.
Didn't
we both
then,
own it,
Then you
right?
start mashing buttons. Then you start tactically mashing buttons.
Yeah, but then it gets intense
and
again.
then
You go,
you
no,
learn-
no.
Then you learn the elements, and then you're like, oh, I'll make a healing death beam. Oh, that's hurting and healing.
yeah.
I still think you can't play with the. Unless you're playing for fun. If you already completed the campaign, you just want to play for
I
fun.
mean, did we?
You can play the different wizard types. They
Oh, yeah.
They completely break the game though.
They
Like
do
it
that,
stops.
yeah. Like there's one that stops being healed from healing and instead gets healed from lightning. So then you're just
Yeah.
trying to do as
that's
much
really
damage with
powerful. Or-
lightning everywhere because it also heals you.
Or if you're into
There's space
Warhammer,
Marines.
you can be a space marine.
Yeah.
You can't heal yourself. You have really powerful
Yeah.
and then there's
regeneration.
Vietnam.
We
Vietnam.
played the
That's
Vietnam
ridiculous.
DLC.
Yeah.
Did we complete it?
Was it?
I don't know honestly. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
that-
don't remember.
Was that actually a story thing? I thought it was.
Yeah, it
Yeah, there was a story
Oh, okay,
thing.
there's
and you could
enough-
have like machine guns.
Because there's a
and
wave-based
flamethrowers.
thing you can't complete
It's
that
like-
sort of
yeah, I think
Vietnam based.
Magicka came out at about the same time that Trines did. Trines 1 and Trines 2.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
very
think
similar
Trine
time.
2
They're
is
pretty
like
good games.
amazing game.
Yeah, just because the art styles are simply-ish.
Don't get
Much
Trine
of
3
it.
though.
No, don't
Trine 4 on the other hand.
I don't know.
And the rest
We
of it
don't
we've
know.
talked about.
Yeah, no, done the
Are
rest.
we
of
done?
this, so-
Well, my God!
We're at the 3-hour mark.
Well, that means you can split it to 2 1.5-hour episodes.
Yeah, part 2.
Oh, yeah, so no, you can buy DLC. It's like
Oh, yeah.
microtransactions.
Why not 18 10-minute episodes?
Yes.
There we go.
Ah, yeah.
Monetized.
Okay, well, that is the end of the anniversary podcast for the Inbetween podcast.
Kind of an abrupt ending, but we've been going for so
4
long.
years. We have to stop somewhere because we've been going.
But
Well, the
wait.
podcast.
But there's more.
We haven't discussed a board game, and I'm here back from the
No,
dead.
goodbye.
Which board game you want to talk about?
We'll discuss that in the next episode.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye.